Ho, ho, ho! Welcome in, everybody. Back again. Another week of Chatterbox Bengals. Week 8 here. Philadelphia Eagles coming to town for the white Bengal game. Tough look for me. I know. I was looking through my closet this morning. I don't have a white Bengals jersey. I'm going to have to fix that by the time another one of these rolls around. But I'm wearing the white. I'm supporting the cause. Shout out to everyone in the chat already watching the stream. Thanks for joining us. Remember, likes equal wins. Be active in the chat. I love talking with you guys. How are we feeling? I'm real nervous. The T. Higgins news certainly didn't help. Late on Friday, a questionable designation after a quad injury in Friday practice. Friday practice is usually walkthroughs, so really rare to see another injury pop up. But man, that's certainly a blow. And as soon as I was starting to come around to the re-sign T. Higgins, just pay him the money side, he reminds us why that's maybe not the best course of action, because yet again, missing some time with a lower body soft tissue injury. 2 games earlier this year with a hamstring, this one with the quad. Hopefully Jamar Chase can step it up. We saw the offense really struggle to scheme him open and succeed in those first 2 weeks without T. Higgins. So hopefully that changes this week, and we can get some significant big plays on this Eagles offense and on the Eagles defense. This Eagles offense leads the league in explosive plays, and that's something the Bengals have not been good at defending in years now. So certainly a concern with Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, all those fools out there. Maybe the most stacked offense on paper in the entire league, and they've been living up to it this year, at least when they've all been healthy. A.J. Brown, 100 yards in every game he's played, but as kickoff nears, this game feels bigger and bigger. Would mean a lot to beat a team like this. Eagles fans think it's a big game too. Both fan bases kind of feel like it's a prove-it game. Figure out where you're at on the season. Obviously, they have a little bit better record than we do, but still both teams that haven't lived up to preseason expectations and have a chance to prove something today. Saw a lot of sentiment on Twitter, on all social media, really, that there's a lot of Bengals fans, or a lot of Eagles fans, down at the banks and making their way into the stadium. So that's a little bit scary on a whiteout game. Hopefully it still looks good. I'm waiting for a full stadium shot here on the broadcast. But man, really hope Bengals fans show out today. 4-4 incoming. I hope so. Need a first win at home. 0-3 at home so far this year. Oh, that crowd looks great. Bengals fans always come through on the whiteout. Eagles ready to kick the ball away. Bengals will get it first. Man, these white uniforms are just so good. Just so good. Ball's in the air, and we're underway in Cincinnati. There we go. Charlie Jones back there takes a knee in the end zone for a touchback. Bengals will get the ball at the 30 to start this game. Burrow in the shotgun, standing at the 25, balls on the 30 for 1st and 10. Hands it up off the middle to Zach Moss. Runs into the back of Orlando Brown. Great to see Brown out there in this game. Certainly a concern after he went down last week. Moss picks up about 3 on 1st down. Great to see Orlando Brown out there. One of my main advantages for the Bengals this week was the health. We seem to have everyone playing, and then late in the week, T. Higgins ruins that for us. Obviously a major loss for this Bengals offense without T. Higgins. There we go. 3rd and short now for the Bengals. after another Zach Moss carry. This defensive line for Philadelphia is very, very good. Obviously, Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, the two Georgia boys, two early first-round picks, dominant up front. But Milton Williams, one of the better pieces, one of the more underrated defensive linemen, I should say, in maybe the entire NFL. He's had a great few years. 3rd and 1 now on the opening drive of the game for the Bengals. T. Higgins out, so we're seeing Mike Gesicki in motion, and that's where the ball is headed. A great jumping catch for Gesicki, able to get feet down inbounds for the first down. That's great stuff right there. That's great stuff right there. Mike Gesicki and Andre Yoshivas alike. Production has dropped off drastically since those first 2 weeks when T. Higgins missed. There we see Gesicki getting in on the action early. Love to see that. One of those guys is going to have to step up. I put it in the chat earlier today. Those of you that know me obviously understand that I went to Alabama, big Alabama fan, big Jermaine Burton supporter. Hopefully he's able to get in on the action today. Only the one catch on the year so far. Screen pass to Chase Brown, swallowed in the backfield. Nakobe Dean sniffs it out perfectly and drops him right away. Chase Brown facing off against his twin brother, Sidney Brown. Both played together at Illinois. Here we go. Second and 13 now for this Bengals offense. Burrow's in an empty backfield set. We've yet to see the offense really look good without both Higgins and Chase on the field. There's a short pass to Chase Brown, able to gain about 5 yards. It's going to be 3rd and 8. Third and 8 now. Zach Moss in the game for Brown. I see Burton in the huddle as well. Burton, Chase, Yoshivas in a trip set to Joe Burrow's left. Gesicki to the right. Chase motions to join Gesicki. Burrow takes the snap in the shotgun, fires Chase's direction, able to find a hole in the defense and pick up the first down. Across the 50 to the 40 is Jamar Chase. Love to see him in on the action early. His first grab of the day. I took Jamar Chase to have 2 catches on the Bengals opening drive. It was plus 400. Seemed like crazy odds there. 1 to pick up the first down. Hopefully he's able to get a second here soon. Our good friend Maverick back in the chat. Hit the like button. Absolutely. We know that results in a Bengals win. Chase Brown hit in the backfield by Zach Baum, but able to pick up a yard or two still. Second down. T. Higgins, in the games that he played this year, actually led the team in targets. More targets than Jamar Chase in those games, even though Chase leads the league in yards and touchdowns. Burrow 5 for 5 so far on this drive for 27 yards. A hand up the gut to Zach Moss, only able to pick up about 3. Bengals continue to struggle running the football early in this game. Going with quick tempo here. 3rd and 6, and the Bengals are hurrying up. Burrow's fired up about that. Bengals make a substitution, which messes with the hurry-up offense as they had to allow the defense to sub. Burrow and Moss now in the backfield on 3rd and 6 as the play clock ticks down. Burrow drops back, fires, able to find Moss, who picks up the first down across the 30, nearing the 35, out at the 33. Zach Moss hasn't been as powerful as a runner as we've wanted to see in the last few weeks, but he's given a lot in the passing game. Jermaine Burton ran onto the field as if he was going to substitute and then ran right off the field, which ruined that hurry-up opportunity. Luckily, the Bengals able to pick it up anyway. A play-action pass here. Joe Burrow rolling out to his right and fires. That is caught on the sideline. Jamar Chase, his second catch of the first drive. There you go, Jacob. That's good omens for this game so far. Great sentiment from Jack O'Grady in our chat. The white jerseys don't pop as much under the sunlight in a 1 p.m. game. Wish it was prime time. Whiteouts are always the best in prime time. I think that's definitely a factor. Lights, fireworks, flyovers, just the general darkness makes the white uniforms pop even more. I think that goes for every white uniform. I think a 4:25 game even would have been fine because then you get basically most of the second half in the dark or at least the sun going down. It's a shame they flexed this one. Hand up the gut to Chase Brown. Brings up a 3rd and short. Saquon Barkley is headed to the medical tent for the Philadelphia Eagles. I just got an alert on my phone that Saquon Barkley is headed to the medical tent. Interesting considering the Eagles offense hasn't been on the field yet. Interesting development. I'll try to keep an eye on that and update you guys as it comes. A screen pass to Chase. First down on 3rd and 2. Bengals offense moving. Great opening drive so far. Saquon Barkley, medical tent. I'm not lying to you guys. Don't know what it could be, though. 1st and 10 now for the Bengals. Jamar Chase already 3 catches for 21 yards today. Hopefully he's able to keep this up all game. Incomplete pass for Joe Burrow as he's pressured. Players going after the ball as if it was a fumble, but clearly an incomplete pass. At least I thought. He just threw it at Nolan Smith's helmet, and it bounced back about 10 yards. Jalen Carter just taking Alex Kappa to the cleaners on that one. 2nd and 10 now for the Bengals after the incomplete pass. Joe Burrow, empty backfield. Zach Moss split out at the bottom of the screen. Burrow fires that direction. It's caught by Moss for a short gain, and the clock will roll as he's knocked out of bounds. Moss slow to get up on the play, but now jogging back to the huddle. Third down conversions today. 4 for 4 for this Bengals offense. Nice to see. 3rd and 6, another long one. Burrow, empty backfield. Drops back to pass, fires towards the end zone, caught by Gesicki inside the 5. That's another first down. 1st and goal for the Bengals. They're getting to a lot of 3rd downs on this drive, which you obviously don't want to see, but they've converted every single one. We'll take it. Stat padding for later in the season. This 3rd down percentage is going to skyrocket after this one. Mike Gesicki in on the action early. Love to see that after a lackluster last couple of weeks. 1st and goal now for the Bengals. Ball's on the 4-yard line. It's a hand up the gut for Zach Moss. He gets to the 2. And he'll be stacked up by this Eagles front. Touchdowns, not field goals, folks. Touchdowns, not field goals. Field goals don't beat good teams. Touchdowns do. Have to score. 2nd and goal now inside the 5. Chase in the backfield now, Moss and Burrow. Moss motions. Chase leaks out to the flat. He's running to the back of the end zone. Burrow's rolling his direction. This usually goes well, and it does! Touchdown, baby! Let's go! Huge first drive for Jamar Chase. Come on, baby! Woo! What a start to this one, folks. 11 for 12 for Joe Burrow on the first drive, 60 yards and a touchdown. Jamar Chase, 4 catches, 23 yards, and a touchdown on drive number 1. How does that feel? A lot of people saying he can't produce without T. Higgins in the lineup. Some people, not going to say who, maybe my co-host Craig Sandlin, who we'll definitely talk about in the postgame, if he continues this, said he would bench Jamar Chase in fantasy today. Whoo, looking like a bad move so far. Sorry, Craig, but here we go. What a phenomenal drive. Love being able to sing the song this early. That's phenomenal. That's phenomenal. Bengals offense has started slow some weeks. Not today. Not today. Here we go. Maybe the best drive of the entire year. And now we got to keep it up as we go, because what is that? I think I hear it. I hear the Bengal growling, mean and angry. Here he comes a prowling, lean and hungry. An offensive brute, run passer boot, and defensively he's rough, tough. Cincinnati Bengals, that's the team we're gonna cheer to victory. Touchdown Bengals, put some points up on that board and win the game for Cincinnati. What a start to a must-win game. What a start to a must-win game. There we go. Great first drive. Clinical first drive. That was phenomenal. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, folks. There's 4:56 left in the first quarter. That's owning the football. Owning the football. What a start to this game. For a Bengals offense that has struggled to run the ball this year, and I wouldn't necessarily say they ran it phenomenally on that drive, they just opened this game with a 10-minute touchdown drive where they went 5 for 5 on third down conversions. 5 for 5 on third down conversions on a 10-minute opening drive against the Philadelphia Eagles. Hello. I'll take that every week. What a beautiful start to this one. Oh, I love it. I love it. That's what we need, guys. We just need everyone to just roll all day long. We just need everyone to roll all day long. People in the chat complaining about a need for auto-tune on the song. Watch it. Watch it. It's a punishment for the song. You guys, I have to get you a little less excited when we score, and it's because you have to hear me sing. But every game I go to, I always sing the song. That's one of the only rules I have when I go to games with people is you have to sing the song. It's been that way my whole life. And now that I'm not going to games, I'm streaming with you guys, I got to still get my songs in. So I'm going to sing it either way. McPherson sends it deep after the Bengals opening drive touchdown. It's brought out of the end zone by the Eagles return man. I believe that's Kenneth Gainwell. Brought down inside the 30, so a bad decision on his part there. Got an alert earlier in this game that during that Bengals opening drive that Saquon Barkley had went to the medical tent. Not sure what that was about, why that would be the case without them taking the field. Certainly interesting, and we'll see what happens here as the Eagles offense is out there for the first time. Eagles are out there. Barkley's in the backfield as normal. He takes this first down carry and gets a good chunk. Certainly a big-time worry this week is that running back running behind this O-line. I mean, two of the best in the league at what they do. Saquon Barkley's been at it for so long at such a high level, and this Eagles offensive line certainly missing a lot with the retirement of Jason Kelce and then Jordan Mailata, their all-pro left tackle, on IR, but Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Lane Johnson, I think they're all right. Still a lot of talent up there. 2nd and 3 for the Eagles. Good pressure on Hurts, but he's able to evade it, pick up the first down and a little bit more across the 40 to about the 42. Seven-yard scamper for Hurts. That's the struggle with him. Much like the game against the Ravens where Lamar Jackson was continually getting out of seemingly sure-thing sacks, Jalen Hurts very similar in the sense of we're going to have to stay at 100 miles an hour in the pocket. There's no easy sacks with this Eagles team. Pitch to Barkley here. Brought down by Pratt for a 2-yard gain. It's going to be 2nd and 8. Barkley had a ginormous game last week against the Giants. Nearly 200 total yards. Second and 8 now. Hurts and Barkley in the backfield. A.J. Brown lined up with DJ Turner at the bottom of the screen. That looks like where Hurts is going, and it is. Brown has a huge chunk out across midfield to the 30 in Bengals territory. These Eagles wide receivers are a scary matchup for a secondary that struggled with big plays all year long. A.J. Brown with just a in-breaking route there against zone defense finds a hole behind Jermaine Pratt in front of Logan Wilson, and Hurts able to find him there. Not enough pressure on Jalen Hurts. You can't let these talented receivers have time to find open space against zone defense. Here, a read run by Hurts. Carries for a pickup of about 5. Jack O'Grady says, there's no way that's the same Fred Johnson that plays for the Bengals. Certainly doesn't seem like it. He has not had a very good year this year, at least statistically, but so far this week seems like he's holding up well against Trey Hendrickson, one of the better edge rushers in the entire league, tied for 4th in the NFL in sacks. Hurts takes the shotgun snap, hands it off to Barkley up the middle, who's able to get the first down. Contact seemingly came at the line of scrimmage, and Barkley picks up the first down and then 2 more. Hurts changing the play at the line. Barkley running for 5 yards a carry. Early in this one, 5 runs and just 1 pass for the Eagles, but already picked up over 55 yards on this drive. 3:55 elapsed off the clock. Blown up on a screen pass is Devontae Smith. Mike Hilton, baby. That's making a play. That guy flies around the football field, man. Love having him on my team. One of the better slot corners in the league. Sniffs out that bubble screen. A.J. Brown, about twice the size, maybe 3 times the size of Mike Hilton, but unable to block him as he blows up the screen pass. Great play by 21. Great play. Eagles offense now behind the sticks, 2nd and 12. A.J. Brown in motion, joins Devontae Smith at the bottom of the screen. 0 pressure on Jalen Hurts, and he runs for a lot. It's going to be about 8, but there is a flag on the play in the area of holding. This one's probably coming back, and it is. Holding on the Eagles. It's going to replay 2nd down. Already behind the sticks, that holding really pushing him back. Jalen Hurts' legs posing a problem early. 10 seconds remaining in the first quarter now. It was Tyler Steen on McKinley Jackson. And Steen just grabs hold there as Jalen Hurts runs by. First quarter comes to an end. Bengals up 7-0 opening the game with a 10-minute touchdown drive. But the Eagles trying to answer. The Eagles still scoreless in the first quarter this season. An interesting stat for a team that, like I've already mentioned, has one of the more prolific offenses in the NFL, at least on paper. But now into the second quarter, they're allowed to start scoring, sadly enough, for the Bengals. No first quarter points in 8 weeks is insanity. That seems crazy. How does that happen? I mean, I get they kicked today and only had 5 minutes. They're still on their first drive, but I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe Sirianni is a bum. Maybe Reed's right. Eagles are driving on their first possession with relative ease. Hurts, no incompletions. Barkley, 5 yards a carry. Hurts, 6.5 yards a carry. We knew this was going to be a high-scoring game, but you got to get a few stops, and hopefully here you can at least hold them to a field goal. I love the white field. I just wish there was a leaping tiger in the middle instead of the bee. I think all Bengals fans kind of have that same mindset. But it looks great. Crowd showed out again. Field looks great. Defense out there now. Hope they start to look great. 7 plays, 45 yards in 5 minutes for the Eagles. We start the first quarter. Both teams just one possession. Eagles still on their first possession. 2nd and 22 now for Philadelphia as we await the first play of the second quarter. Hurts in the shotgun. Barkley in motion. It's a swing pass to him, and he catches it in the backfield. Gets about 5 when he's brought down by Pratt. 7, pardon me. Pratt able to bring down Barkley in relatively open field. An impressive play there. I mean, swing pass like that, Barkley makes people miss. That's why they run him so often. Third and 15 now. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith at the top of the screen. Hurts fires that direction. It's towards Brown in the end zone. Sails out of bounds. Cam Taylor-Britt in coverage. 4th and 15 now for the Eagles. Jake Elliott going to come on and try to bang it through for Philadelphia. Cut into this Bengals lead. We'll see Cam Taylor-Britt on A.J. Brown all day today. Makes me think back to last year when the Bengals played the Seahawks, and Cam Taylor-Britt was able to bully DK Metcalf all game, even drew an unsportsmanlike penalty late in that one. Hopefully the physicality can get to another big receiver in A.J. Brown. Jake Elliott bangs it through 7-3 now for the Bengals as they're about to get the ball back. Awaiting the kickoff here as we go to another commercial in Cincinnati. I love these specialty games, the whiteouts, the stripeouts. It's nice that Bengals fans have executed them so well. Gives a real college atmosphere. You don't see that stuff in the pros very often. It's too disjointed. But to see it in the NFL like this is pretty cool. And pretty consistently. I can't remember the last time they've asked fans to do something theme-wise and it hasn't been done. I think they've delivered pretty much the entirety of this era, which is cool to see. Looking around the league at what else is happening. Obviously, at this point, the Bengals are focused on themselves, winning every game. Every game basically must-win territory now, sitting at 3-4 after a 1-4 start. Jets trail the Patriots by 7, with the ball now still in the first quarter there. Drake May with a rushing touchdown early in that one. The Packers and Jaguars still knotted at 0. Titans and Lions at 7. Mason Rudolph able to lead a touchdown drive to answer the Lions, which David Montgomery scored. The Falcons and Buccaneers tied at 7. Kyle Pitts and Cade Otton have gotten in the end zone. Then the Cardinals trail the Dolphins by 10. Tua Tagovailoa back, and that offense looking like it might be an NFL offense again. It's amazing how much he means to that team and how bad they looked without him. The Browns are up on the Ravens at the end of the first quarter, 3-0. Jameis Winston changing some things up in Cleveland maybe. Colts and Texans knotted at 3. And that does it for the 1 p.m. slate and games already underway. Coming back to Cincinnati, Burrow and Hurts played each other before. 2019 Peach Bowl. Burrow scored 7 touchdowns as LSU blew out Oklahoma in the college football playoff semifinal. One of the most boring semifinal games of all time just because of how dominant LSU was, but that team was always fun to watch no matter how bad they were beating everyone else. Kick sails out the back of the end zone. Bengals will get it at the 30. Seven to 3, Bengals lead, 14-10 now in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the offense at the 30. Bengals offense still in the huddle as they break it now. Burrow 11 for 12 on that opening drive for a touchdown and 60 yards. Chase in motion now, fakes the jet sweep. Burrow drops back to pass. He's loading up. He's firing. And it's Eric All across the 50. Makes a man miss. Nears the 40. Eric All, baby. Big time play. Love to see it. What a great pick he seems to be so far this year. Big chunk play from the tight end. Something we haven't said a lot in Cincinnati. Eric All with a great corner route there into the open space. Able to get out of Gardner Johnson's tackle and pick up a few more yards. Great play there by All, the rookie out of Iowa. Certainly has tight end 1 in his future. Play action here on 2nd down, and Burrow is going to get sacked. Looked for a moment like he might get out of it, but unable to as the Eagles swarm. But there is a flag on the play. Penalty for a defensive hold is waved off. How's that? They tackled him. All right. 2nd and 22 now for the Bengals offense. That seems like a weird wave off. He brought down Jermaine Burton. Burrow drops back to pass now on 2nd and long. He fires deep, and it's almost picked off. Cooper DeJean, the rookie corner out of Iowa, gets both hands on it. That ball very much almost picked off. Man, oh man. Whew. Lucky to still have the ball now are the Bengals. 3rd and 22. Under 13 to go here in the first half. Up 4. Burrow in the empty backfield. Pressure up the gut. He's able to evade it. Alex Kappa seals the rusher. He fires. He finds Gesicki, who picks up the first down. Let's go, baby! What a play! 9! And kudos to Gesicki for finding space, but what a play by Joe Burrow to get out of that mess. And Alex Kappa sealing the edge there on number 0 as Burrow gets towards the line of scrimmage and then fires to Gesicki, who found space. What a conversion! Love to see that by this offense. That's phenomenal stuff. What a play. Alex Kappa, Joe Burrow, Mike Gesicki. Wow. 3 targets for Gesicki so far this week. 3 catches, 40 yards. That's what we wanted to see. We said everyone else needed to step up in T. Higgins' absence. Here they are. Handoff up the gut to Chase Brown. Picks up about 3. Great play all around, but those 3 guys really delivering. Thirteen of 15 is Burrow for 112 yards and a touchdown. 2nd and 7 on the Bengals' second drive of the game. The first down line is the 20. Yoshivas in motion to the top of the screen. Burrow drops back to pass, fires. It's Chase Brown who drops it. Ball hit him right between the 3 and the 0 and Karam's to the ground. Perfectly fine. Ball by Burrow right between the 3 and the 1, right in Chase Brown's hands, and it hit the ground. The passing game, certainly not the strength of Chase Brown's game, but something he's gotten much better at. Bengals' perfect 3rd down conversion rate in jeopardy here. It's another 3rd and long, 3rd and 7 now. Eagles showing pressure, and they bring it. Burrow throws, and he finds Gesicki! What a grab! Have a day, 88! Where's this guy been? Holy cow! What a catch! Mike Gesicki, 1 hand! National Tight Ends Day! Have yourself 1-8. Burrow finds Chase out to about the 10 on first down. They call him down at the 9. What a one-handed grab. Mike Gesicki on 3rd and 7. Bengals now 7 for 7 on 3rd down so far today. Gesicki, 4 catches, 51 yards on National Tight Ends Day. What a week to do it. I love to see it. This is what we wanted. Us Gesicki believers, though there might have been few, this is what we thought he could have been this year. Great glimpse into what he could be in this offense. 4 catches, 51 yards already in this one. Jamar in motion. It's a handoff up the gut to Chase Brown, who's still fighting, picks up 2. Great to see this level of production from Gesicki. That's awesome. 3rd and 3 for the Bengals. They lead 7-3 and lead the time of possession by nearly 10 minutes. 14-15 for the Bengals, 5:45 for the Eagles. Obviously, lopsided drive count there, but the Bengals have been able to hold on to the ball well, and that's because they're perfect on 3rd down. Here's another one, 3rd and 3. Burrow fires, and it is incomplete. intended for Jermaine Burton, broken up by Darius Slay. The perfect third down conversion streak comes to an end. It's going to be 4th and 3 for the Bengals. Just a very good play by Darius Slay against the rookie wide receiver. And Evan McPherson's going to come on and try to extend this lead. McPherson 10 for 13 this season on field goals. This is a 27-yard attempt. Rico the holder. And McPherson bangs it through. It's now 10-3. Bengals lead with 9.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Good first half so far for the Bengals. 2 commanding drives. I'm very, very happy with the field goal there. Obviously, you'd rather have a touchdown, but you'll take a 10-3 lead with the offense looking as dominant as it's been so far. Defense bending, not breaking, allowing just a field goal on the first drive. Need to step it up, though. That Joe Burrow throw to Gesicki, man. What a play that was. Gesicki clearly the second option so far today. 4 targets his direction. Only guy with more. Jamar Chase. Chase Brown also targeted 4 times. 1 drop and 2 catches. The running backs are a big part of the passing game so far this year, and they continue to be this week. Would love to see the defense just get a nice little bang, quick 1, 2, 3 and out. Punt it away. Bengals offense comes back out there, drives down, scores a touchdown, 17-3. Bam. See you after the half. That's what I would love to see. What I wouldn't love to see is what the Bengals do so well, which is 2-for-1s. No 2-for-1s here for the Eagles. Absolutely, Jack. Jack says Gesicki's production fell off week 3 when T returned. Feels like he's being used as the wide receiver too. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. Make sure we're liking the stream. Share it with your friends. The more the merrier. Need more folks in the chat. It's always fun talking with everyone in here. Thanks to everyone who's joining us so far today. And reminder, post-game show coming up right afterwards. I'll be joined by Craig Sandlin as soon as this game ends. And we'll break down, hopefully, the third Bengals win in a row. 10-3 lead so far today for the Bengals. 9.5 minutes to go in the first half. Whiteout looks good. Whiteout looks good. See a lot of Bengals fans in orange and black, though, in that shot. Come on. Figure it out, man. If you're going to this game, you got to get a white something. Hoodie, jersey. Kickoff deep into the end zone. Gainwell not going to test this one. Just kneels it down for the Eagles. Going to get the ball to 30. Hurts back out there for this Eagles offense. Bengals up 7. Eagles now with the ball, looking to tie the game up before we go to halftime. Still 9:30 to go. Need the defense to step up big here. 5 men at the line of scrimmage for this Bengals defense. Hurts fires incomplete. Great play, Cam Taylor-Britt, to fight through the hands of Devontae Smith and cause that ball to hit the ground. That's right, Mally James. Says you got to show up in white if you go to today's game. I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. A lot of orange. And a lot of green, honestly. A lot of green. A lot of Eagles fans. They travel well. Play action pass. Burrow fakes the handoff. Hurts fakes the handoff. Looking for the screen, but the Bengals sniff it out. There is a flag on the play. As Hurts threw it into the ground on the screen pass. Bengals sniffed it out well. It's a flag on the play. An eligible man downfield is the call. Third down now for the Eagles. Hendrickson was one of my main keys to victory coming into this one, lined up against Fred Johnson, the backup left tackle for the Eagles. Can he make a difference now on 3rd and 10? Broadcast highlights him, hopefully for good reason. Play clock ticks down. 3, 2, 1. They get the snap off. Tight end chips on Hendrickson. Hurts finds A.J. Brown, but he is knocked out short of the line to gain. 4th and 1 for the Eagles. And you know what that means. They always do it. 4th and about 1.5 for the Eagles based on where A.J. Brown stepped out of bounds. And that's going to lead us to a tush push. 10 for 14 on 4th down conversions this season are the Eagles. This a long one, but it doesn't matter. Hurts gets it as they always do. The most frustrating play in sports when it's against your team. The tush push, 4th and 1 converted for this Eagles offense. Not much you can do. Not much you can do, folks. First and 10 now for the Eagles. Over double the Bengals rushing yards so far today. Handoff to Barkley. Brought down on the play by Sheldon Rankins. Lane Johnson down and in pain. Lane Johnson holding his right leg and rolling around on the ground in pain. This is not good. Lane Johnson, the best right tackle in the NFL by a wide margin. Maybe one of the best right tackles of all time. Eagles already without Jordan Mailata. Losing Lane Johnson here would be crucial. Absolutely brutal blow for the Eagles, if that's as bad as it seems. Lane Johnson, a key to this rushing offense. Such a great player. You really hate to see something like that happen. As we wait for the injury timeout to end, we'll take another glimpse around the league. Jets 6-7 trail the Patriots at the end of the first quarter because of a Greg Zuerlein missed extra point. Missed extra point for the Jets. Titans and Lions tied at 14. This has to be the best the Titans offense has looked all year. And it's with Mason Rudolph at the quarterback position. That's crazy. And then the Buccaneers, without their top 2 wide receivers, probably for an extended period of time now, and they still lead the Falcons 14-7, able to step it up and perform in that one, are the Bucs. Baker Mayfield having a hell of a season. Colts up 10-3 on the Texans in Houston. A little bit of a shocker there. So frustrating when the other team's playing with 9-yard sticks. You get it. You get a stop. You force a fourth down in their own territory, and then here a replay of the Lane Johnson injury. Just rolled up on there after the tackle on Barkley. Goes down awkwardly immediately. In pain. Johnson up and standing on the sideline, helmet on, a good sign for the Eagles' right tackle. Backup Driscoll in the game next to Steen. 2 backup tackles now for this Eagles offensive line. Handoff up the gut. It's Gainwell who's able to get 4. Lane Johnson coming back into the game. Good to see. Good to see. Burrow hurts in the empty set, throws, and it is nearly picked off, but it's incomplete. Oh, nearly picked off. Great play by Logan Wilson, the Cowboy, fourth and 3, and you can't QB sneak here. So the Eagles forced to punt it away. Sent deep for Jones, who lets it bounce and goes into the end zone for a touchback. 6:34 now for the Bengals to try to extend this 7-point lead. Big time drive here as the Eagles get the ball coming out of halftime. Bengals started with it in this one and were able to open with a pristine first drive that resulted in a touchdown. Took 10 minutes off the clock. It was great. Now 6:34 remaining in the first half. Need a 17-3 lead. Would be great to see. I'd feel real good about a 17-3 lead. This is Bengals football. That's right, Mally James. Defense stepping it up. Can't say it too soon, but maybe proven hearing the noise that these last 2 weeks were a fluke. Stepping it up against a really good offense. We have a kick return touchdown in Detroit. A kick return touchdown in Detroit. Excuse me, not a touchdown. Just a 72-yard return brought down, pushed out of bounds, and then immediately touchdown scored by the Lions. My favorite thing, or the thing I'm looking forward to most after this Bengals game ends, is looking back at all of Jameis Winston's halftime and quarter interviews and all the things like that, because now that he's a starting quarterback, he's going to have to talk to the media a lot more. And every time Jameis Winston talks to the media, it is pure gold. Six and a half minutes, Bengals offense on the field. 1st and 10 from the 30 after the touchback on the punt by the Eagles. Forced a 4th down, did the Bengals defense, then foiled by the tush push. Got back together and forced another longer 4th down in which the Eagles had to punt it away. Ball went into the end zone. Now the Bengals taking over 1st and 10 at the At the 20, pardon me. 1st and 10 at the 20 for this Bengals offense. I get confused with the dynamic kickoff moving the touchback to the 30. That's not always the case. Punt touchbacks to the 20. Burrow in the shotgun, drops back to throw, and he's going to fire. Pseudo shot play. Jamar Chase lost his footing. Thought that ball was going to go deep or just a 12-yard out or so. Chase slips and falls. Ball falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 now, 6.5 minutes to go. Identical twins are always crazy to me. Burrow passing again, fires this one downfield to Burton, and he got it! All he does is catch bombs! 81, baby! 2 catches in this season, 2 bombs. Why is he not active every week? Darius Slay? Who? Jermaine Burton, bomb! Cross the 50. Let's go, 81. DBA, baby! DBA, let's go! Love that! Make a difference! Boom, baby! How does he not play more? All we see is chunk play after chunk play. Hand off to Chase Brown on 1st down. Going to bring up a 2nd after a short gain. What a play! That's what you love to see. 2nd and 7. Burrow and Brown in the backfield. Brown, slight motion as Burrow fires over the middle of the field. Brings up 3rd and 7. Third and 7 now. Bengals only 1 3rd down failed so far today. 7 of 8 are they on the season. This one a 3rd and 7 at the 46-yard line. Eagles bringing pressure. Burrow fires. It is incomplete. Batted around, tipped, a dangerous ball. Brings up a 4th and 7, targeting Gesicki on that one. Blown up by Reed Blankenship. Ball a little bit behind Gesicki, but still one that could have been caught. Not sure it would have resulted in a 1st down either way. But Gesicki tips it a 2nd time, which always leaves room for error. McPherson, after just about 1 minute and 10 seconds of possession for the Bengals, McPherson going to try to give them a double-digit lead with a 54-yard attempt. McPherson's up and no good. The struggles continue for Evan McPherson. At some point, we're going to have an uncomfortable conversation about Evan McPherson because snap's good, holds good, kick is not. Yeah, not very money. Not very money so far this season. 11 for 15 now on the year. That's a shame. 5 minutes to go in the first half. Eagles only down 7. That could change a lot here. They have great field position now after the missed kick. I don't know why Evan McPherson's bad now. That's not a fun development. I thought he was good. I was excited when we extended him. The first ever Craig and I Chatterbox Bengals was about his extension. And now 11 for 15. I mean, jeez. Towards the bottom of the league in field goal percentage. Evan McPherson has missed his last 3 field goal attempts over 50 yards. And now the Eagles take over at midfield. Only down a touchdown, and they get the ball at half. We know how big 2-for-1s have been for the Bengals this year in terms of turning momentum and really changing games. Defense going to have to step it up and stop that from happening. Just a really upsetting miss for Evan McPherson. The defense looks good, but now put in a tough situation with the ball already on the logo. The 46-yard, their own 46-yard line. Jalen Hurts under center. Saquon Barkley behind him. The Eagles a perfectly balanced offense so far today. 8 rushes, 8 passes. Here's another run, and why wouldn't you just run it up the gut with Barkley? If he's going to get 6 a carry, it's going to be 2nd and 4. Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator now, came over from Dallas. Interesting coordinator move in the middle of that rivalry. 2nd and 3 now for the Eagles. It's another run play to Barkley. He's contacted at the line of scrimmage, but still picks up 2. It's going to be 3rd and 1. Hill and Barkley talking afterwards. Third and 1, and you know what they're running. Did they get it? It's going to be close. Second effort seemed to get across the line. We'll see where they spot it, but does it matter? Because if it's 4th and half of football, they're just going to run it again. They save us the formality. It's an Eagles first down. Hurts finds Calcaterra for the first down. Hurts finds Barkley in the flat. Brought down inbounds. Clock will run. 2:30 as the Eagles near the red zone. Josh Newton in the game. Broadcast says Cam Taylor-Britt got hurt earlier in this one. Now Josh Newton in the game at the bottom of your screen, lined up above Trey Hendrickson. Flag is down for a false start on the Eagles. Back them up. Cam Taylor-Britt checking back into the game. Just missed the one play. 2-minute warning in Cincinnati. Philadelphia trying to tie this one up, or at the very least cut into the lead. 10-3 after a McPherson missed kick. I wish he would have done this before we extended him. But we've already paid him. So he needs to be better. Needs to be better. No excuses. First, against the Ravens, we gave him an excuse. He had an excuse. It was a bad hold. Now, I don't know what to say anymore. Should be 13-3, but the Eagles are driving deep in Bengals territory with 2 minutes to go in the first half. Missed field goals changed the tide more than damn near anything else. A lot of people in the chat saying it's the holder. I watched, and that kick looks completely fine on the hold. I don't know what. If you need a completely perfect hold, then you shouldn't be one of the highest paid kickers in the entire NFL. So McPherson has to be able to knock that through. That ball was down in plenty of time, and the laces were turned away. And it was relatively straight. Special teams has been a roller coaster for the Bengals this year. David Shaw says maybe get closer. Brother, it was fourth down. You're not going for a fourth down there. You have to be able to hit field goals there, especially when you extend your kicker. Returning here from the 2-minute warning. Second and 12 for this Eagles offense. A.J. Brown in motion to the top of the screen. Hurts finds Devontae Smith, who's able to make Jermaine Pratt miss. Brought down at about the 20. There is a flag thrown. It's going to be seemingly on B.J. Hill as he's immediately arguing. Oh. Flag on the offense, number 56, Tyler Steen, the Alabama product, will move the Eagles back. Oh, Hill wasn't arguing about a flag on himself. He was arguing for a flag on the late hit on Steen. And he gets it. Absolutely a late hit, just coming and pile driving after it was blown dead. 3rd and 16 now for the Eagles. No flags yet for the Bengals today. 3 for 30 yards for the Eagles. Backed up near the 35 at the 33. A.J. Brown lined up with Cam Taylor-Britt. That's where Hurts goes, and it's enough for a first down. These Eagles receivers are really damn good, folks. It's zone coverage. A.J. Brown able to find a soft spot and pick up the first down, backpedaling for the last yard or so. Just a great play by the receiver to find that open space. 1st and 10 for the Eagles. 1:36 in this first half. I also hate when they only rush 3, Nathan Hines. It's the worst. We can't get pressure rushing 4, and we think we should just start rushing 3. He's had all day to throw, all day today. "41-yard drive so far in 3.5 minutes. 1:35 on the clock as Hurts, with the QB draw, finds space. He's so dangerous with his legs in the red zone, inside the 5 to the 4. Jalen Hurts' QB draw is... it's a good play. Inside the 5, down to the 4 is Hurts. 1st and goal now for the Eagles. 1:29 left. Bengals lead by 7. This drive coming after a missed field goal by Evan McPherson. McPherson yet to make a 50-yard field goal this season after being extended in the offseason. First and goal for the Eagles. Ball very, very close to the goal line. Extra offensive lineman has checked in for the Eagles. Confusion leads to a timeout. Confusion on the jumbo set for Philadelphia. Timeout, Eagles. I really don't understand the sentiment that people wanted to go for that 4th down. I don't get that at all. If you don't trust Evan McPherson whatsoever to make a 54-yard field goal, then you shouldn't have signed him to an extension this offseason. You have to believe in your special teams unit as well. That's well within his range. It's not 4th and short. It's 4th and 7. It's a different conversation if it's 4th and 2, 3, or 4, but it's 4th and 7. Absolutely the right call to kick that. You just have to make it. Handoff to Saquon Barkley, swallowed up in the backfield by Akeem Davis-Gaither. No timeouts left for the Bengals. 1:24 to go in the first half. Ball's at the 6 now for Philadelphia. Hurts standing at the 10, ball's at the 6. Some good pressure here. Hurts running. Pratt forces him out of bounds. There is a flag on the play. Flag hands to the face on Taylor Britt. Half the distance to the goal. It's going to give the Eagles a first down as well. She got that paw right in A.J. Brown's face mask. Not quite tush-push range, but certainly getting there. Ball is at the 3 for the Eagles offense. 2 tight ends in the game. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, Saquon Barkley. Everyone bunched up around the line of scrimmage. It's a handoff up the gut to Barkley. He's hit at the line, falls forward to about the 1. Now, certainly in tush-push range as this clock ticks down to 1 minute. Ball's at the 1.5 yard line, which feels like tush-push zone. Eagles line up. It's second down, so they have 3 chances. Bengals might have stopped the first one, and they did. Ball's going to get inside the 1, though. Assume the Eagles are just going to run that 2 more times. So, great work by the Bengals defense on the first one. But hard to get too excited when you know that they're just going to line it up again and again. Jermaine Pratt trying something new. Him and Hendrickson over the top. Keep trying. Keep trying. I'd love to be the one to stop it. 25 seconds now. Eagles use another timeout. Another tush push on third down. Hurts stacked up. Stacked up? Do we stop him? No tush push for you. But it's fourth down. They're probably just going to run it again. Fourth and goal now. That play's under review. Whoo! Whoo-hoo! Hopefully they uphold that one. Hopefully that's a stop. That'd be awesome. Stopped on second down. Ruling on the field as they stopped him on third down. We'll see after this review. They go to commercial. I'd love to see a replay. I would expect them to try again on fourth down. Or maybe we got in Sirianni's head. If the Eagles line this up for fourth down and do it again, and the Bengals stop them 3 times in a row, it would be the most exciting defensive sequence of all time. play reversed. It's going to be a touchdown for the Eagles. What a shame. Almost a great, great stop by the Bengals defense. Eagles going for 2 here, try to take a lead into the locker room. 22 seconds in the first half. Ball on the 2-yard line. Hurts in the backfield with Barkley. 2 tight ends set off the back hip of both tackles. Calcaterra in motion behind Hurts. Eagles trying to get a hard count on a 2-point conversion to try to get it to the 1 and run another QB sneak. Extra point, up and good. 10-10 game, 22 seconds to go. Ten to 10 game, 22 seconds left. Seems like it's going to be tied at half. McPherson's got to be better, man. McPherson's got to be better. You bang that through. Who even knows if the Eagles have 10 right now? Real shame that that's overturned after what seemed like a good stand. A very, very hard-fought stand at halftime. Eagles do get the ball coming out. Jalen Hurts, 46 rushing touchdowns. Unbelievable. $18 seconds for this Bengals offense. Assume they'll take a knee and take it to half. Maybe take a shot. 16 tush pushes, 4 non-tush pushes for Hurts. Bengals lining up, going to run a play. Burrow in the shotgun, drops back to pass. He fires deep. It's going. Now, it might have been intercepted. Out of bounds. Now 11 seconds for this Bengals offense. Oh, no. Halftime in Cincinnati, 10-10 ball game. Bengals have outplayed the Eagles the entirety of the first half, it feels like. And to go to the halftime tied is a real kick in the gut. Feels like we should have a lead here in some way. Halftime in Cincy. We'll look around at some other scores. We'll check on the box score here in Cincy before we get back from half. Ten-10 game in Cincinnati at halftime. Tied up with the Bengals outplaying the Eagles drastically. Hurts 7 for 11 passing for 86 yards. Burrow 16 of 24 for 170 and a touchdown. Hurts on the ground 7 for 30 yards and a touchdown on a tush push. Saquon Barkley 9 for 35 after a big time start to this game, about 5 yards a carry. Bengals have been able to somewhat bottle him up, at least here recently. The Bengals' rushing attack has been ineffective, under 2 yards per carry. Bengals' passing game has been really good today. Gesicki, 4 for 51 yards. Burton, the one bomb for 41. Chase, 5 for 28. Eric All, the 130-yard grab. Zach Moss getting in on the action with 3 catches, all 3 of his targets for 19 yards. Look, people are asking in the chat, who do you trust more, McPherson or Joe Burrow? If you don't trust McPherson to hit a 54-yard field goal, then you need to go get another kicker. I think that's what I'm talking about here. If a 4th and 7 with a lead in the first quarter of a football game, you're not going to kick that, then you need a new kicker. And if we don't think Evan McPherson's able to make that, if you want to go for a 4th and 7 in the first quarter, then I don't know what we're talking about, because we extended Evan McPherson to be the kicker of this team, and he has to make kicks like that. Every single coach in the entire league except for Dan Campbell kicks that ball. It's the right move by any analytic you'd ever look up in terms of win percentage. No one's going for a 4th and 7 with a lead like that. Jets up 13-7 on the Patriots at halftime. Under 2 minutes to go in Jacksonville. Packers up 10-7. Lions 35-14. That offense is clicking in Detroit. Both running backs, Montgomery and Gibbs, able to get into the end zone. Still the first half there. What an offensive output by the Detroit Lions. Falcons and Buccaneers 21-17. Falcons lead. Dolphins up 13-7 on the Cardinals. Ravens 10, Browns 6 in Jameis Winston's starter debut in Cleveland. Colts and Texans tied at 10 with a minute to go until halftime there. Good window of games here in the 1 o'clock slate. Falcons and Buccaneers, an interesting matchup. They've already played once this season. The winner of this game between the Falcons and the Buccaneers would have a 70% chance at winning the NFC South. The loser under a 30% chance. And that applies to both teams, which is just crazy to say this early in the season, that this game virtually decides the NFC South. David Montgomery with a passing touchdown as well. Just incredible. Drake May out with a concussion in that game. Upsetting for a rookie quarterback that's been able to put together pretty solid start to his career after Jacoby Brissett started this season as the Patriots starter. Hope he's able to get healthy and back onto the field. Tua Tagovailoa, speaking of concussions, back in the game and leading this Dolphins offense to look much better than it has in recent weeks. Offense has looked so good today that it's mind-boggling that we don't have a lead at this point. A 10-10 game at half. Just incredibly frustrating after the way this team has looked so far today. Run game has to be better. Under 2 yards a carry, not going to cut it. But everything else is clicking. And to see one Burton bomb already, you have to wonder why he's not more involved in the offense today without T. Higgins. Just the one target, and it goes for 40 yards. I know you can't just run streaks every play, but the kid looks like he has some talent. And we're just not seeing him out there. Bengals defense has been good today. A short field after the missed field goal. The Eagles offense only 153 total yards in the first half, 3 total drives, 86 yards passing. This team has looked good. This team has looked good on both sides of the ball. Special teams just has to step it up. Jaden Daniels out there warming up for the Commanders, basketball in hand as we look in to Washington. Hopefully he's able to play. He and Caleb Williams, the matchup between the number 1 and number 2 overall picks in this year's draft class, facing off at 425. That's the reason this game is on right now. And not at 425, flexed for that 1-2 matchup. While we're still at halftime, I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll be right back. I need to grab some more water for this second half. Bengals stressing me out. Getting some sweats, getting dehydrated. So I'll be back in just a few minutes for the second half. Thank you for everyone who's joined us so far today. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you soon. All right, folks. Getting ready for the second half here in Cincinnati. Just put a chat poll up. What's your confidence level? Tied at 10-10 at halftime as McPherson kicks it back to the Eagles. Here getting ready to start the second half. Do the Bengals got this? Or are we not feeling good? Let me know what you think in the chat poll. Jameis is so much better than Deshaun Watson. It's not even funny. Eagles with the ball at the 30. Hurts under center. Barkley behind him. Second half underway now in Cincinnati. Tied up after the Eagles scored on a tush push late in the first half. It's a handoff up the gut to Barkley, who's had a good day, and picks up 3. Second and 7 for this Eagles offense. Their first drive of the second half, the first drive of the second half. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown stacked at the bottom of the screen. Now Brown walking out towards the bottom of the numbers. Hurts and Barkley in the backfield. Tight end to the right. It's another run up the gut. This time the Bengals able to stop him for a 2-yard gain. 3rd and 5. A lot of sentiment that we need to stop here to feel good. You can wait to vote. I like predictions. I like you putting it out there a little bit, putting it on the line, saying you feel good before we get the stop, but you can wait to vote. That's just fine. 3rd and 5 now for this Bengals defense. Eagles 50% today, 3 for 6. Hurts drops back to pass. He fires to a wide open Devontae Smith, who takes this ball to the 50. First and 10, ball's at the 50. Finds another wide open receiver. Now nearing the red zone. Ball's on the 21-yard line as Grant Calcaterra with a big-time gain. I was worried about Dallas Goedert all week, and with him ruled out, I had a sigh of relief, but doesn't seem to matter who's playing tight end against the Bengals. They're going to eat. Fred Johnson holding his own with Trey Hendrickson, certainly not something that I expected today. This Bengals defensive line unable to get any pressure today. Done a good job bottling up Barkley so far today. Great start to this game. First 4 carries, he was averaging over 5 yards per carry. Now down at about 3.5. Defense has really stepped it up. Eagles now with more yards than the Bengals, 202 to 174. Still on their first drive here of the second half. Hurts is going to roll out. Finds the backup tight end across the middle. Ball comes out, but I think he was down. Down and injured is Brady Stoll, the Eagles' backup tackle. A low hit by Geno Stone. That ball is out. That ball's out. He was over Stone's. That ball was out. Unless they said forward progress was stopped. If they said his knee was down, it was not. Can someone in the chat help me out? What was the call? Did they say forward progress was stopped, or did they say he was down? Because he was not down. That had to have been a catch, right? There's no way that's incomplete. Thank you, Nathan Hines. Nathan Hines says forward progress was stopped. An unfortunate ruling for the Bengals in that sense. Jameis Winston finds David Njoku in the AFC North Browns-Ravens matchup for the touchdown. The Browns are now up on the Ravens 13-10. Whew! Don't look now. Could the Browns be an interesting team with Jameis? Certainly more fun to watch. That's a shame that they called that forward progress, because what a play. How is forward progress stopped if you're running? It was the process of making the tackle. David Shaw says Kinner having a good day so far. I'm not so sure. Kinner's not rooting for losses here for a better draft pick. He's already said the season's over for the Browns. He might be rooting for draft pick here, in which case a win is a bad thing. So he might be having a bad day now that the Browns are finally winning. I don't know, but we'll be able to find out Monday, 10 a.m. tomorrow, off the bench. Justin Kinner, myself, Elliot Rearing, Casey McAllister. Brady Stoll in the blue tent after that injury. 3rd and 3 for the Eagles at the 15-yard line. Would be a big stop for the Bengals to hold the Eagles to 3 here. Saquon Barkley gets it and more inside the 10. Down to the 7 is Barkley. Some other sport breaking news that people might have interest in. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts says that Shohei Ohtani's in a great spot and will be playing in Game 3 tomorrow. That's big time. Hurts fakes the handoff to Barkley, keeps it around the edge, and he's going to score. Second rushing touchdown for Jalen Hurts. Eagles take a 16-10 lead as we wait for the extra point. 5th rushing touchdown this season for Hurts on the read option. Just got Myles Murphy stuck between 2 elite runners. He crashes a little too far on Barkley. Hurts gets around the edge, untouched into the end zone for number 1. Elliott lined up for the extra point. Snaps coming back. Holds down. Kick is good. 17-10. The Eagles lead on a 4.5-minute drive to open the second half. Bengals offense going to have to go down and match it. 0-4 at home would be terrible for vibes. Detrimental for vibes. The percentage of not good confidence votes is skyrocketing right now, and I don't like those vibes, but wild, mind-blowing idea by Nathan McKinney. If your D-line isn't great and can't get pressure, maybe bring more than 3 and 4 guys. Just a thought. Crazy thought. I don't know if you're allowed to do that even. Mavericks calling for better vibes, and I think I agree. We need better vibes. Eagles 9.5. No name. What a preposterous alternate line bet. No faith in the Bengals from the jump today. That's a shame. That's a real shame. Key to victory is exactly what Jade DeSilva is saying right now. We had to force Jalen Hurts to pass. We've now given the Eagles the lead, and they're going to be able to run the ball, which they do at the second best rate in the entire NFL. Bengals have to go down and match that score, get a quick stop, get a lead so Hurts is forced to throw. That's the only way they're going to be able to win this football game. Nine and a half alternate line on a 2.5 point dog is bold. What were the odds on that? No name. Put in the chat what were the odds on that. That's crazy, crazy bet. These are two elite offenses. No punts yet again. That's right. That's right, Von Beck. No punts yet again. And just the one for Philadelphia. But no looks at Rico today other than holding. Kickoff into the end zone. Charlie Jones takes a knee. 10.5 minutes. Bengals offense going to try to match that Eagles touchdown to open the second half. Joe Burrow's looked good today. Offense was so clean in the beginning of the game. Has slowed down considerably since. That first drive of the game was one of the best drives of the entire season. Able to find Chase in the back of the end zone to cap it off. Detroit has now hung 40 on the Titans. Orlando Brown on the sideline. No helmet. That knee injury continuing to linger. More Cody Ford now. Ball to the middle of the field. Falls incomplete on 2nd and 6. Going to bring up a 3rd and 6. Man, no Orlando Brown is going to be a tough hurdle. Third and 6, Bengals offense now down 7. 7 of 9 on 3rd down. All 7 completions for Burrow have been firsts. Yoshivas motions to the top of the screen. Burrow drops back to pass. He fires towards the sticks. It's a first down for Gesicki. Clock will roll. Sticks will move. Love to see it. First and 10. 5 catches for 58 yards for Gesicki. Most of that came early in this game. Handoff to Chase Brown for a 3-yard gain. Going to be 2nd and 7. When the Bengals run the ball on first down, they usually end up with 2nd and longer than you'd like. They have not been able to get a good push in the run game consistently. Under 9 now in the 3rd for the Bengals. 2nd and 8. Chase motions across the formation to join Yoshivas. Burrow looks his direction but fires towards Yoshivas. Is it caught? It is. He juggled it, but able to bring it down. Darius Slay hobbled on the play. Bengals going hurry up. Don't seem convinced that it was a clean catch. Do they get the snap off? Cody Ford jumps off sides. No. There's a challenge. Was Yoshivas able to catch this one? No. Incomplete pass. Philadelphia's challenging, got the flag out before the Bengals were able to get the snap off. It's an incomplete pass dropped by Yoshivas. How do you drop that, man? Right in his mitts. Oh, how do you drop that? Good ball right in his hands. How do you drop that? And how does this review take longer than 2 seconds? This kid has to step up if he's going to be the wide receiver 3 on this team. How are we still reviewing this? It's clearly incomplete. Let's get a move on. This is something the NFL needs to get figured out. Man. As they go to commercial break, I'm going to step away for just 1 second and be right back before the next play. Don't go anywhere. Make sure we get likes on the stream for this Bengals offense to keep rolling. I will be back momentarily. Don't go anywhere. It's going to be 3rd and 8 for the Bengals when we come back from this review. Andre Yoshivas with the drop on 2nd down. 3rd and long now coming up for the Bengals offense. They were automatic to start this game. Automatic on 3rd down. Started out 5 for 5. Since just 3 for 5. Still good on the day, but not the perfection that was happening earlier. 17-10 lead for Philadelphia. Bengals offense on the field. It's just such a tough drop on a 2nd and 8. Would have picked up a 1st down. Get a perfect ball right in Yoshivas' hands. Hits the ground. Call is overturned as we all expected. Third and 8 now for the Bengals. Ball back on the 43-yard line after the overturn. Chase motions to the slot at the bottom of your screen. Burrow drops back to pass. Pressure. He's able to avoid it. He's running now on 3rd and 8. Unable to get there, but very close. They move the sticks. 1st down run for Joe Burrow. What a spot. Love to see it. First down. First down, Joe Burrow. What a run. What a run. Josh Sweat beats Cody Ford, and Joe Burrow able to outleg Zach Bond for the first down. Handoff up the gut on first for Zach Moss. Effective first down carry for 4 yards to the 45. What a run. What a spot. Sorry for not believing in you. Didn't think he got there, but he did. 2nd and 6 now for the Bengals after the quick first down play. Great run by Moss on first down for 4. Only 35 rushing yards in the game today for the Bengals. 2nd and 6 as the play clock ticks down. Gets the snap off. Burrow looking to throw. Finds Moss on the little swing route. Makes one man miss. Gets the first down and a few more out to right around the 35. First down for the Bengals. Back-to-back touches for Zach Moss. Great play by Moss to avoid Zach Bond. Nakobe Dean forces him out of bounds after 8. Enough for the first down. Burrow dropping back to pass. He fires. Got Chase for the first down, and there's a flag. Eagles DBs calling for offensive pass interference. Jamar Chase pointing their direction. We'll see which way it goes. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson and Chase talking to each other after the play. It's going to go on Philadelphia. The catch will stand. There we go. Big time hold on Quinyon Mitchell. Got his arms all the way around to Chase's back. Holding on the defense. First down for the Bengals. Motion Chase, quick hitter, makes one man miss, unable to make the second man miss. Rodgers brings him down right outside of the red zone. Second and 7 now for the Bengals. Burrow in the shotgun as Chase motions across the formation. Brown next to Burrow. He'll swing outside. Burrow finds Chase across the middle. First down inside the 10 to the 8 is Chase. Boom. Love the flex. Love the first down and goal now for the White Tigers. Great route by Chase against the rookie corner, DeJean. Just a bang-bang slant. Good footwork on the break. Chase eating. Shows you right there. He's eating today. Trenton Irwin in the game. Runs in motion there to the top of your screen. Chase at the bottom. Burrow looking Irwin's way. Unable to make a man miss, but inside the 5. Handoff up the gut. It's Chase Brown, and he's in! Tie ball game after the extra point. There we go, baby! Chase Brown gets in at a game. His whole family's in town. He's playing his brother. Scores a touchdown. There we go, 30. Effective running. That's important, especially down in the red zone. Touchdown, Chase Brown. There we go. McPherson's kick up and good. At least he makes those. 17-17 now. And I hear that Bengal growling, mean and angry. Here he comes a prowling, lean and hungry. An offensive brute. Hoo. Run pass or boot. Hoo. And defensively, he's rough, tough. Cincinnati Bengals. That's the team we're gonna cheer to victory. Touchdown, Bengals. Put some points up on that board and win the game for Cincinnati. Gonna need more. 17-7. That's big time. 17-17. Tie ball game now. Third quarter, 4:15 to go. Gonna kick it back to the Eagles. Where are we sitting at on this poll? Where's the confidence level at? 63% of y'all are confident. I love that. Vibes are high. That's beautiful. Bengals run game hasn't been great today, but when you need it most, they're coming through. Zach Moss, some good carries on that drive. Chase Brown capping it off with a touchdown. We got the better twin, says Dolce. I think you're right. Everyone, make sure we're liking the stream so the Bengals can pull off this comeback. Likes equal wins. Likes equal stops. Likes equal touchdowns. Likes equal make field goals. All that stuff. So make sure we're liking the stream so the Bengals can complete this comeback in what feels like a must-win game. Vibes in the city would be real high if you can get this win against Philadelphia. 0-3 at home so far this year, and 0-4 stretch in Paycor would not be fun to see. Defense needs to show up. They've had a good day for the most part. But man, the Carson Wentz, Joe Burrow tie in 2020. Two of the last four meetings in a tie. $17, 4:16 on the clock as McPherson sends it deep. It goes into the end zone. Gainwell almost drops it, but holds on and takes a knee. First and 10 for this Eagles offense. Defense, it's time. It's time right now to get a stop. $3 out. That's right. That's what we want right here. It's going to be a pass as Hurts drops back and he finds a wide open A.J. Brown. How does he get that open? Out across the 50, Cam Taylor-Britt nowhere near him. How does that happen? First and 10. Big time pickup for the Eagles. From the 30 out across the 50. I mean, man. A.J. Brown, not exactly a surprise target. You know he's going to get the ball in situations like this. First and 10 across the 50, already in Bengals territory. 3.5 minutes now in the third quarter. Hurts takes the ball in the shotgun, hands it off to Barkley. Gets to about the 45 on a 2-yard carry, maybe a little bit less. Browns' 3-point lead is no more. Lamar finds Mark Andrews for the touchdown. 17-13. Hurts stands at the 50, takes the shotgun snap. Play action pass as he rolls. He's firing deep. He loads up and lets it go. It's caught by Devontae Smith over Jordan Battle for a bomb touchdown. Alabama on Alabama crime as Smith catches that one over Battle. That ball might have hit the ground. No, it didn't. That's a catch. What a play by Devontae Smith. What a play by Devontae Smith. Bomb touchdown. Jalen Hurts to Smith. Eagles back on top, 23-17. We're waiting on the extra point. Defense has no answers for Philadelphia. 3 straight drives ending in the end zone for the Eagles. Man. 24-17, Bengals trail. That's a shame. That's a shame. And now I look silly for saying make Jalen Hurts beat you with his arm because that's a hell of a ball. Not what you want to see out of Jordan Battle, a guy that, I know myself and a lot of fans have been asking for more of all year long. Gets in there and gets mossed in the end zone by Devontae Smith. A great ball from Hurts, a great catch by Smith, able to hold on to it all the way through the ground. It's just a tough all-around play. Oh, man. Trey Hendrickson hasn't been nearly as much of a factor today as I expected. Going against Fred Johnson all day. Expected him to have a big one, but nowhere to be seen so far. It just feels like the Bengals are playing catch-up all day long. After what felt like such a dominant first half, this is a very frustrating place to be with 2:45 to go in the third. "56-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown, 70-yard touchdown." That's the last 3 drives for the Eagles. 24-17 in a game we knew was going to be a shootout. If the Bengals are going to win this one, it will go over the total. Ball goes into the end zone. Charlie Jones catches it, takes a knee. Bengals get the ball at the 30. See if they can match with a 70-yard touchdown drive of their own. Just a absolute bomb from Hurts into the end zone. Ball goes about 55 yards in the air, right into the arms of Devontae Smith, over the head of Jordan Battle, who tries to knock it out late but just can't do it. Burrow forced to roll on first down. He's going to run. He gets 5, 6, 7. Second and 2 after the 8-yard scamper by Burrow on first down. Great running from him today. Darius Slay banged up, groin injury in the locker room, listed as questionable to return. Cody Ford at left tackle. And Orlando Brown started this game, but has since exited. Chase Brown unable to pick up the first down. It's going to be 3rd and inches, less than a yard. Third and 1, but it's less than 1. 9 for 11 today are the Bengals on third down. Timeout for the Bengals as the play clock began to tick down. 3rd and very short with 1:26 left here in the third. Live look in during the broadcast to the Browns-Ravens game. Browns back on top, 20-17. Cedric Tillman with the receiving touchdown. This 5-game losing streak for Cleveland, their longest since 2017. Bengals down 7 in Cincinnati right now, 3rd and 1. Handoff up the gut. It is stuffed. Zach Moss barely gets back to the line of scrimmage. No gain. More like a loss of some. 4th down and longer than 3rd coming up. Bengals in their own territory. With a running game you can't trust, probably have to punt this ball away. You turn the ball over to Philadelphia this deep in your own territory at this point in the game when they've scored 3 touchdowns in a row. This game's over. Now we're going for it on 4th down. Joe Burrow in the shotgun. Chase in motion. 4th and 1. This is going to be, certainly feels like the game. It's Chase, and he's caught in the backfield for a loss of 2. Bengals are going to turn the ball over on downs. You have to punt that ball. You have to punt that ball. You have to punt that football. Eagles inside Bengals territory. Balls inside the 40. At the 37, Hurts takes the snap, hands it off to Barkley up the gut, who's chopped down for a loss of 1. I cannot figure out why you go for that. Cannot figure out why you go for that. We're going to the fourth quarter. We're going to the fourth quarter. Fours up. Fours in the chat. Fours in the chat. We always got to get the fours in the chat. I know vibes aren't high right now. I know most of us think we had to punt that football, and we go for it anyway, throw it on a bubble screen behind the sticks, and don't convert. Incredibly frustrating, but we need fours in the chat. Fours up if you're at home. Fours up wherever you are. We need the vibes. We need the vibes. We need likes. We need fours. That's all we need. That's how the Bengals win this game. Fours and likes. That's how the Bengals win this game. And hopefully no more stupid things like a bubble screen on fourth down when you could have just punted the ball away. But fours up, fourth down, Eagles in Bengals territory, already up 7 in this game, a game that really felt like the Bengals dominated for the first half and then went to the half tied at 10. 24-17 now in Cincinnati. Whiteout game. Bengals have never lost in the white helmets. We're 15 minutes away from losing that wonderful stat. Down 7, Eagles in Bengals territory. It's fourth down, 15 minutes left. Big game for the Bengals. A must win, a can't lose, whatever you want to call it. This is a game that really would help get the Bengals on track. And if they can pull off the comeback here and figure it out, it would mean a lot, but man, it's not looking pretty right now. We have to get a stop here. We have to get a turnover here. A field goal puts us down 10. We'd have time, but that would require the defense to get a stop, which that fourth down go tells me that the coaching staff has no faith in the defense. So down 7, fourth quarter on deck. We need the defense to do something. Prove these coaches wrong. Get a turnover. Get a pick 6. Get some points on the board. We need the defense to make some big-time plays here in the fourth quarter. We have 15 minutes left in a game that we should win. This has been terrible. After you run it up the gut with Zach Moss and get stuffed, I assume the offense play calling staff was just scared to run the ball. Eagles up 24-17 as the fourth quarter gets underway. Smith and Brown, top of your screen. Calcaterra and Dotson at the bottom. Hurts is going to run, breaks one tackle, but knocked out of bounds at the line of scrimmage. Bowls over the chain gang guy. Have to hope he's okay. Good play by Cam Taylor-Britt making a hit. Hurts' shoe is off as the play clock ticks down. 2-1-0. Timeout, Philadelphia. Hurts now wearing mismatched Jordans. 1-5-1-11. Kenny Pickett was in the game. Sorry, not a 5. 1-4-1-11 for Jalen Hurts on the feet. Kind of cool. Hurts drops back to pass, fires towards Brown, catches it but brought down immediately. Going to bring up a 4th and 4, 4th and 4, 4th and 5. Eagles are going to try to kick this in. Hopefully, we can will them to a miss. If we get some misses, oh, now it's spoiled by the ESPN score bug. Isn't that fun? Elliott lines up for the kick. .49-yarder, and Elliott bangs it through. 27-17 for the Bengals. Have to score every drive here on out. 2-score lead for Philadelphia. 27-17. Bengals offense has no room for error. The lack of pressure the Bengals are getting today is not something I expected at all. I thought we were going to be able to get pressure today against this Eagles front, especially Fred Johnson, and it just hasn't happened whatsoever. Defense has been lackluster, but still playing a relatively decent game. We need to get downfield quick and score. 13:30 remaining here in the fourth quarter in a game that the Bengals feel like they have to win. Hendrickson is getting worked by Fred. It's sad. Season's not over if the Bengals lose today. Come on, season's not over. It would certainly push them towards the brink of that. You'd have little to no wiggle room the rest of the season, but season wouldn't be over. A lot of conversation about the O-line drafting strategy in the chat right now. The Bengals have the least athletic offensive line in the NFL, which is certainly not a great sign for, pass blocking and creativity. On the offensive front, if you have guys that can't move very well. So, I don't know if that's a choice by the Bengals to go less athletic on the front. I don't know why you would necessarily do that, but certainly it's been that way. Oh, no, if you guys are saying the season's over because of our personnel and you don't believe in the team, that's completely fine. I was just speaking mathematically. We would still have a way to get in. Can we still make the playoffs at 3-5? Legitimate question in the chat from Aaron. Yeah, I think there certainly is a route to 3-5. You can't lose any more games that you're favored in, and you're going to have to win most of the games that you're not favored in. I think 10-7 is probably the only way the Bengals get in, which would require you to go 7-2 the rest of the way, which is certainly tough and not easy to do. I think Bengals fans' minds are a little bit warped by the fact that we've done that a few times in years past, and I don't know how likely it is this year, but it's certainly still a possibility. Charlie Jones takes that kick in the end zone, takes another knee. Bengals will get it at the 30. This really feels like one that should have been a win. Not that it won't be, but to be down 2 scores right now in the fourth quarter feels like a slap in the face for how most of this game is gone. Burrow drops back, fires towards all, able to get 3 yards, fighting to stay in bounds for some reason. 13-18 and ticking. Irwin in motion. Chase at the top of the screen. Burrow in the shotgun. takes the snap, he loads, he fires. It's Gesicki for the first down. Chopped down at the 45. Little to no urgency by the Bengals right now. Just taking their sweet time. Don't understand that. I feel like I'd be operating much quicker here with 12 and a half minutes to go in this game. 1st and 10 for the Bengals at the 44-yard line. Burrow drops back to pass. He fires deep. What? Ball intended to chase is just hit straight into Chauncey Gardner-Johnson's hands by Isaiah Rodgers for an interception. What? How does that happen? How does that happen? How does that happen, folks? How does that happen? Oh, my God. That was the right decision. I don't know who's talking about decision-making in the chat. Joshua Morgan, tell me about Joe's decision-making. Backup corner against Jamar Chase. I'm throwing that ball more often than not. Crazy, crazy interception. Bengals as unlucky as it gets. Eagles at the 15, now out across the 25 with the first down. Saquon Barkley, get used to it because that's what we're about to see for the next 12 minutes. Another carry for Barkley, another 5 yards. Going 4 at home is about as frustrating as it gets. 12 minutes left. We're talking like it's already the 2-minute warning, but man, all the air has been taken out of Bengals fans. Another Barkley carry swallowed in the backfield, back behind the 30 now to the 29. Third and 7. All 3 Eagles receivers, bottom of your screen. Hurts drops back to pass. He fires. Caught by Smith. First down. First and 10 Eagles now as they near midfield. 27-17, 10-point lead for Philadelphia. Hurts takes the shotgun snap, hands it off up the middle to Barkley, who gets 3. I mean, that's just a soul-sucking win for Philadelphia. Hurts fires Smith again. Brought down just short of the sticks, or are they going to give him the first down? First and 10, move the sticks for Philadelphia. Handoff up the gut. Saquon Barkley across the 50 now. He's just chipping away. If you can run the ball this easy, you have no chance. Saquon Barkley breaks a big one. Out across the 40, inside the 30. On the first down carry, Eagles deep in Bengals territory. Have to assume Bengals fans start to file out of the stadium at this point. A lot of people in the chat saying the Bengals just are not a good team. At some point, it's hard to argue. Barkley Hurts in the backfield now. Dotson in motion. Hurts is throwing. First down. Oh, 4-1 in Cincinnati are the Eagles. Seems like they're going to pick one up here. Another handoff for Barkley. Stiff arm, and now he gets positive yards. It's a first down. He's trying to tiptoe, and he's inside the 5. Saquon is a special player. It's a tush push. It's a touchdown. The Bengals have now given up 30 to the Philadelphia Eagles. That third time the Bengals defense has allowed 30 points so far this year. Offensive clinic, just like the broadcast said. Offensive clinic for the Eagles. 34-17. Bengals are down. A soul-crushing loss in a game that it really felt like we controlled for the majority of it. Fell apart right at the end of the first half, and the Bengals have never been able to get it back. The tush push is so frustrating, but at this point, it lines up very, very low on the list of my frustrations. What a terrible, terrible, terrible game. Yeah, good bet. 9.5. Good bet. Bengals lost to a better team today, and that's incredibly frustrating. But, guys, do not go anywhere. We got a post-game show coming up for you right afterwards. Not at all what any Bengals fans expected this season. This was supposed to be a year that we were going to make a run, be atop the league, wire to wire or so, and just not at all. Man, we had it too. Really had it. Pain, pain, pain. Trade conversations happening in the chat. Definitely interesting to talk about as the trade deadline looms. November 5th, the NFL trade deadline right around the corner. Really felt good early in the first half and fell apart. Burrow finds Gesicki for about 5, and the ball's out. Ball's out, Eagles ball. Zach Bond just punches it out. Gesicki has a great day. Throws it away at the end, losing the ball. First and 10, Philadelphia. Two turnovers today for the Bengals, both coming at critical points. I mean, this one, I don't know how much it means, but certainly just another shot to the gut. Kenneth Gainwell, first down. Doesn't matter who's running for the Eagles, anyone can get it. Hurts under center now, 1st and 10. Eagles just outside of the red zone. It's another handoff up the gut. Gainwell to the 20, maybe inside. No, this is far from a playoff team this year. That's absolutely right. Bengals just are not good enough. Are not good enough. Oh, I'm absolutely still going to watch. I never said I wasn't going to watch. I'm going to watch every game, and I'm probably going to get excited by next Sunday. But, man, this is an absolute gut punch after 2 really good weeks. Handoff up the gut again. Gainwell just running it at will. Another 3 yards for the Eagles offense. Three and 5 for the Bengals on the year. 0-4 at home. Play clock ticking down. Hurts takes the shotgun snap, handoff, and Barkley breaks through, breaks tackles, touchdown. That's 40. There's a flag down. It's coming back. It saves some pride, I guess, for this Bengals defense, not allowing 40 points. If you can even say that they have any pride left. Man, Eagles whooping the Bengals today. A game that I did not see going this way whatsoever. Not before the game, not at halftime. Really at no point until it really got off the rails did I think this was even a possibility. I mean, I can't believe it. You're going to lose this game by 20 points. Joshua Morgan in our YouTube chat says, I'm glad they switched the game to 1 o'clock and I couldn't go, so I was able to sell these tickets and make a profit. At least one of us won today. There you go, Joshua. Happy for you. This is just soul-crushing. Soul-crushing. Handoff again, not Barkley, it's Will Shipley. Cut down in the backfield. Ticking towards the 2-minute warning now, and we will take the break. 2 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. Don't go anywhere as it ticks down. Well, that's right, No Name. I forgot about your win. Don't go anywhere as it ticks down. Stick around. Craig Sandlin will join me for an immediate post-game show right after this one wraps up. Not good vibes, bad vibes. Very, very bad vibes, sad vibes. But we're here anyway. So we hope you are too. Thank you to everyone who's joined us so far today in the live stream. I don't think Lakes are going to get the Bengals any wins, but I'd still appreciate them. Just incredibly upsetting. Oh, man. This was a golden opportunity for this team to get back on track after back-to-back wins against poor teams. show that those weren't just because those were poor teams, that you could actually do it against someone else. Another team that was struggling a little bit, but maybe you could get the job done. Nah. 34-17, and the Eagles are near the red zone. Just a shameful showing. Terrible loss. Yeah, zero spin zone. Zero spin zone. Eagles looking to cross the 40-point threshold today. 34 now, had a touchdown get called back. Would be their first time scoring 40 this year. Back to Cincinnati for the last 2 minutes of this one. Just a little bit more time to let the pain set in before we get rolling for postgame. Fans funneling out. Starting to see why they call it the jungle, all those green seats. Jake Elliott lined up for the field goal to give the Eagles a 20-point lead, and he does. Knocks through the 47-yarder. 37-17, Bengals down 20 with 1:55. Just playing for pride now. Trying to go down the field, get some points on the board. Minute 55 left in what might be one of the worst home losses I can think of in a while in terms of just embarrassment. That Ravens game hurts a little bit more just because of us being right there at the end, but in terms of just a pure butt whooping in your home stadium, it certainly doesn't sit well. Kickoff for Elliott nearly goes out of bounds, but stays in. Charlie Jones forced to pick it up and then just run out. Jake Browning now in the game for the Bengals. Waving the white flag. Going to the backups. Burton, Yoshivas, All, Charlie Jones. Hand off to Chase Brown, gets across the 20. Second and 5 now, Bengals offense, 122 and ticking. No urgency, obviously. Backups in. You're just taking this loss. Man. Third and 1 for Cincy. 20-point lead for the Eagles. 30 seconds left. It's a handoff up the gut. Chase Brown does get there. Twins in the NFL. Sidney Brown chops down Chase Brown to end that one. Clock's just going to tick out now as this game's going to end a 20-point loss for the Cincinnati Bengals. Doesn't get harder to swallow than that one. Craig and I will be here in just a few minutes to break it down. I'm going to run the intro and try to figure out what to say about this one, folks.
Looking right around Huntley. He reaches. Oh, that ball's out. That's live. Back the other way. Sam Hubbard. The Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30. The 20. He will score.
To the end zone. Down the field. And it is deflected. And gone. Touchdown. A.J. Green.
Back to throw. Men are coming late. Looks right down the middle. There's Eddie Brown. He has it at the 35 to the 30. He may go 10-5. Touchdown.
Now the Bengals Super Bowl chances rest on his right foot. The kick is up. It is good.
Corey Dillon. He's gone. The knockout punch. You're looking at it. 65 yards.
And they're back to throw as the blitz is on. Goes long, intended for Collinsworth. He has it down to the 20. Touchdown. And Chris Collinsworth.
Throwing the long ball. Deep down the field. Johnson's got it. Touchdown. Cincinnati.
Look at Chase go. Oh my goodness, what a gear he just found. Chase for the touchdown. Wow, Chase is on the case.
It is no fluke. It is a fact. The Cincinnati Bengals are headed to Super Bowl 56. The play clock at 3. Shotgun snap. Carr throws into traffic. Intercepted. Jermaine Pratt has the football.
Yeah.
Coffin nails.
Bam, bam, bam. How about that?
Oh, no. I'm all frazzled.
Oh, no.
What a bad game from the Bengals, and they're in my head. I'm not feeling great. But here Craig joins me for the postgame. Another loss, something we're getting a little too comfortable doing. But, Craig, I would ask you how you're doing, but a 20-point home loss in uniforms you've never lost in before, that certainly doesn't feel great.
Well, the Bengals are who we thought they were. And whether you wanted to admit it or not, I think deep down we all knew what this team really was. I think some of us wanted to gain some hope after the last 2 weeks with wins over really bad teams. But the truth of the matter is that this team just isn't that good. They haven't really been that good all year long. And so, we went into this one. I had, outside hopes of maybe competing. And then, those of us in the central time zone, we wake up to the news that T. Higgins is not likely to go, which was confirmed later on. And it just, ever from that moment forward, it felt like it was going to be a difficult uphill climb. And, there were certain moments in this game where you felt like maybe you were wrong. Maybe you were wrong. Maybe Zach Taylor could scheme open Jamar Chase and get him going in a game. Maybe Zach Taylor could figure out how to be explosive with only one real weapon on his team. Didn't pan out that way. Jamar Chase, obviously, with his 9 catches for 54 yards, only 6 yards per reception. We're going to get into all of that and more. At the end of the day, this just isn't a very good ball club. And the decision that you have to make is whether or not Zach Taylor is the guy to lead you forward. And quite frankly, you can't continue to waste Joe Burrow prime years. And you got to make a decision on what's going to happen there. and give up what did end up being 37 points to the Eagles after they had
37-17.
back-to-back. Yeah, after they've struggled a little bit offensively. Jalen Hurts with 3 rushing touchdowns today. That tush push, as we talked about before, is really tough to stop. But just as you can imagine, a little bit deflating today. Not necessarily a surprise, but I think the surprise is how bad it looked outside of that first drive.
And that first drive was incredible. It was incredible.
I know.
For the third
I
week
had a
in a row,
lot of
I
people
felt
chirping
great.
at me after that first drive, Jacob, yourself included.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I thought we fixed the problem, and we didn't.
No, and here's the thing, right? Like it was talked about during the week as well. Like Philadelphia, they don't give up big plays. It's just not what they do. They play a lot of cloud defense, a lot of cloud coverage, and they try to contain you to short gains and want you to beat them by 1,000 cuts. And the Bengals did exactly that on that first drive. That first drive was exactly what the Bengals needed to do. 17 plays, 70 yards, over 10 minutes of ball control. And you thought, wow, this is going to go well. Didn't go well after that, Jacob. And
No.
I don't want to jump the gun here, so I'm going to stop there. I'll let you any thoughts that you have right out the gate kind of bring them to you, but I don't know. I'm not as surprised as I thought I would be.
No, and I think that's fair. I think the surprise for me doesn't come from the Eagles offense scoring 37 or the Bengals losing to a team that I think is pretty good and without debate talented in the Philadelphia Eagles. The surprise comes in a 20-point blowout loss where you really weren't in the game down the stretch, which is so frustrating to say. The offense just disappeared, and that's exactly what we're going to get to. I'm jumping the gun after you just said you weren't going to jump the gun, so I'll stop jumping the gun. I'm a mess right now, man. I thought this was going to be the game that the Bengals were going to get back on track, prove that these last 2 wins over the Giants and the Browns weren't a fluke, weren't just a product of playing teams at the bottom of the league, prove that they're legit, prove that they've changed some things, and today they prove exactly that they did not do that these things have not changed, and the same issues that we used to face in the beginning of the season, we are still facing. In sports, when you say someone is back, that's usually a good thing. That's usually a massive positive. At this point, all I could think all day was, oh, well, the Bengals defense is back, and I certainly don't mean that as a good thing. These last 2 weeks are a massive outlier at this point. This is what the Bengals defense is. And now they're back to that level of production. 37 points against an Eagles offense, like Craig said, that has struggled recently, is unacceptable. Saquon Barkley ran for 5 yards a carry, and that's with the middle chunk of the game where he really didn't do anything. Beginning of the game and end of the game, when the Eagles were trying to run the ball to establish the run at the beginning and salt the clock away at the end, he got every yard he wanted every time he touched the ball. There was zero fight from the interior of this Bengals defense against the run when it came to Saquon Barkley. Then we saw Will Shipley break a touchdown run called back because of a hold. Kenneth Gainwell got in on the action with a 12-yard run. It didn't matter who the Eagles put back there. Anyone could run on the Bengals, and it's a problem that we've faced all year, something that we thought was going to be a bigger problem at the beginning of the year. Those concerns were qualmed a little bit by how we were able to bottle up Derrick Henry in the regulation of that Ravens game. But today in this one, the running attack for the Eagles was just so good. I mean, Jalen Hurts, 10 carries for 37 yards, but even those 37 yards felt timely. Felt like he was getting those runs when he needed to keep the offense on the field. It's just the Bengals defense just can't do enough. And at some point, I don't know how much I can blame the coaching, because we've seen so many different guys out there now that can't do it or are lost. How many times was Cam Taylor-Britt 10 yards behind Devontae Smith or A.J. Brown, whoever he was covering? I can think of at least 3 off the top of my mind, and I haven't even watched film yet. This defense doesn't know where to line up or how to play fundamental football, it seems like. Jordan Battle, a guy that I've begged for more snaps all year long, finally gets a little TV time, and it's with Devontae Smith picking the ball off the top of his helmet in the back of the end zone. I mean, just incredibly unfortunate for this Bengals team in a spot where you had a chance to prove that you've changed things, that you've made adjustments, that this coaching staff is legitimate and cares about winning a championship this year and have done what they needed to do in this locker room to get these guys on track. And I don't know if it's a talent problem or a coaching problem, but there's big-time problems in Cincinnati. I think it does start with the defense, even though the offense only put up 17 points today, and put the defense in some bad positions. But, man, what I thought I saw the last 2 weeks out of this Bengals defense, out the window. We're back to where we were a few weeks ago.
Well, we talked about how the Eagles can beat you in so many different ways. And we talked about, do you want to let Saquon beat you? Do you want to try and force Jalen Hurts to beat you? What do you want to do? And what happens? Saquon Barkley, 22 carries, 108 yards, 4.9 a pop. Jalen Hurts, 10 carries, 37 yards, 3 touchdowns on the ground. Oh, by the way, Jacob, you decided you wanted Jalen Hurts to beat you in the air.
I know.
What did he do today?
I know. He beat me in the air. Okay, Craig? He beat me in the air.
16 for 20, 236 yards, and that deep touchdown pass to Devontae Smith. Again, I thought Jordan Battle had pretty good coverage in that, but Devontae Smith just able to pick it out of the air and make it work. Devontae Smith, 6 catches, 85 yards, including that 45-yard touchdown. A.J. Brown, 5 catches for 84, 16.8 pop per pop. Grant Calcaterra, 3 catches for 58 yards. You know, it just, you go on and on about the different ways that this Eagles team can beat you, and the Bengals didn't feel like they stopped any of them. And I think that if you would have come into this and talked about, oh, well, let's shut down Saquon and let Jalen Hurts beat us. And if Jalen Hurts beats us when we hold Saquon Barkley to 50 yards on the ground or something like that, fine, so be it. You throw your hands up in the air and you say, okay, we did what we wanted to do, and they turned around and they beat us at our own game. If you say, okay, well, we don't want to let Jalen Hurts beat us, and so we're going to stop him and let Saquon Barkley run wild, and throw your hands up, and if they happen to do it, then so be it. But what happened today was that everybody beat you.
Yeah.
There wasn't a single facet of the game defensively where you can look at it and say, yeah, you know what? I feel like the Bengals really stepped up in that area. There wasn't any of them. And so the defense is back to where it was. You know, that Giants game, we talked about how you want to make Daniel Jones beat you. And guess what? Daniel Jones wasn't able to beat you. Yeah. The Browns game last week, you wanted to make them beat you through the air. They couldn't beat you through the air. And so now here you are. You had a team that can beat you in both facets. You couldn't stop either one of them. And you're looking at a 37-point blowout from a defensive perspective. And it's just not good enough.
And that's, I think, where I'm at right now with the defense is, what are the building blocks? What is there left to take away? What is there to hold on to hope-wise for the rest of the year on that side of the ball? I mean, are we talking about a complete overhaul next year on that defense if we're trying to compete? I can't point to a ton of guys that I'm confident in their current role. I mean, Cam Taylor-Britt hasn't looked like a corner one all year. The linebackers have shown flashes of being fine. I think I'll probably leave the two of them out. Today, Trey Hendrickson, certainly not calling to move on from him or anything, but a game I expected him to make a massive difference, lined up against the Eagles' backup left tackle, Fred Johnson, and he was nowhere to be seen. Really, the entire Bengals pass rush was nowhere to be seen all day long, and I think that was kind of to be expected on the right-hand side. Lane Johnson has only allowed one pressure all year long. He's the only tackle in NFL football with over 100 pass blocking snaps and less than 5 pressures allowed, so it's not necessarily on Sam Hubbard and that side of the line that they weren't getting pressure today. Everyone has had those struggles, but for Trey Hendrickson not to get pressure off of Fred Johnson, and for that middle of the defense not to succeed against a guy in Cam Jurgens, their new center after Jason Kelsey's retirement, who's in his first year starting, Landon Dickerson at guard. The guard, I'm forgetting his name, out of Alabama, the rookie this year, Tyler Steen, not a great player by any means, and the interior defensive line for the Bengals unable to get any kind of pressure whatsoever, unable to make a difference against the run. The secondary doesn't look great. There's not a lot of encouraging pieces there. I don't know what to hold on to at this point on that side of the football. And if you're going to make that many changes, or as many changes as I think are going to be made, then why keep the same coaches around? Why keep Lou around if you're going to overhaul the whole defense? Make a change there. Bring in a new mind with the new bodies. And then if you're talking about him leaving, why don't we talk about changing everyone in the coaching staff? I think that's kind of where all the Bengals fans are at right now, is you can't change 53 players. There's a 53-man roster in the NFL. I think there's a lot of holes. I think there's probably a handful of guys a lot of Bengals fans are really confident in. But you can't change 40-plus players on a roster. The easiest thing to change is the coaching staff. And I think that's kind of where we're headed right now, because there's way too many problems to point to anything else other than an entire roster overhaul or the coaching staff. And I think the first thing you do is you hope that a new system and a new coaching staff can save you some of the money and draft capital you've already poured into this defense.
Yeah, I look look around and I'm checking out PFF instant reports here and trying to see kind of how things go. I think one of the things that stands out to me, I mean, obviously you think you have some cornerstones with Logan Wilson and some other guys on this defense, but your supposed number one corner, Cam Taylor-Britt, is the most targeted guy on your defense.
Yeah.
That tells you a little bit about your number one corner. And today he gives up 5 catches on 7 targets for 64 yards, 3 first downs. I mean, again, for a game in which the Eagles only threw the ball 20 times, for over a third of those to go towards your supposed number one corner, tells you a lot about where this team is defensively versus, when you look at the Eagles matchup, Darius Slay was targeted 6 times, but only gave up 3 catches, So I don't know. It just, I think there's so many different pieces that need to be addressed. There were pieces that needed to be addressed this offseason that we knew needed to be addressed that weren't addressed. There were pieces that a lot of people didn't think that the depth was there. And whether you want to blame Zach Taylor and this coaching staff, whether you want to blame Duke Tobin and this front office, it doesn't really matter where the blame goes right now. At the end of the day, this team is not good enough. You can't expect them to compete for a playoff spot this year. They're sitting now at 3-4. They're 0-3 at home, and just not a whole lot of hope when you look at it.
The painful thing about the other side of the ball as well, obviously 37 points, never an expectation, but with the weapons the Eagles have, certainly knew it was a possibility against this Bengals defense that we've seen give up this kind of production before. So that's not the biggest shock, but 17 points from this offense is, because every game so far this season that they've been asked to score to stay in the game, they've been able to do so. The Bengals haven't been blown out this year. That's just a fact. They've been able to hang around in most games, even games that felt like they were out of reach. I mean, that Commanders game felt like we got whooped up and down the field the entire time in primetime, lost the game by 5. This game, honestly, it felt like we were dominating the game most of the first half, and you lose by 20. It's just the fickleness of the NFL is crazy, because this offense, maybe there were bigger issues in the last 2 weeks than I wanted to admit. I mean, 17 points against the Giants, a touchdown late in that one, and then 21 points against the Browns. Just not great. 21 points against the Browns, one of those touchdowns being a kick return touchdown, and then 17 points this week for the offense. Do we have an offensive problem? But then I see drives like that first drive that's so clinical. Bang, 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 right down the field. Everything that Joe wants to do, he gets done, finds the open receiver, 3rd and 7, doesn't matter, convert it, 5 for 5 on 3rd down conversions, touchdown to start the game on a good play design with Jamar Chase motioning out of the backfield. And then the offense scores 10 points the rest of the day? What happened to this offense? And where did it go? I know an expectation of 30 points a game is not feasible, and I'm not even acting like they should have scored 40 and won this one. I'm saying 1 more touchdown, 2 more touchdowns. How do you disappear for so long in an NFL football game? I understand the 2 turnovers at the end, which really make this look worse than it might actually be, but that's part of the game as well. And when you're playing for pride, especially on that Mike Gesicki drive, to just lose the ball so carelessly, just reaching out away from your body when you're nowhere near the first down marker or any reason to be reaching it out. Zach Bond punches it away. It feels like there's a lack of pride on this team, and these guys, I don't know if they don't care or what, but it felt like today that they threw in the towel fairly early.
Yeah, let's go back to the missed field goal. And I know we've got Evan McPherson on the rundown coming up, but you've got that missed field goal towards the end of that first half, and you go from potentially a 13-3 lead. The Eagles go 2 for 1, which we've talked about multiple times on this show, and the Bengals going 2 for 1. The Eagles go 2 for 1, and next thing you know, it's 17-10 Eagles. Now the Bengals respond. They go 13 plays, 70 yards, 6 minutes and 20 seconds, and they tie it up 17-17. But then what happens? The Eagles respond, they score again, and then we get to the dreaded turnover on downs. And this is where I keep continuing to go back to every single time we talk about this offense, is that when they need it the most, they have zero capability of running the football. And they did it again during that drive there. 3rd down and 1. They run Zach Moss up the middle for no gain. And then Zach Taylor, with a classic Zach Taylor call, gives the ball to Jamar Chase 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage and hopes that he can go 3-on-1 to gain 4 yards and get the first down. And it's just an incomprehensible play call to me when this Bengals offense should have so many opportunities to take advantage of this defense in multiple ways.
Yeah.
And so you run the ball on 3rd down, you can't do anything with it. You throw to Jamar Chase behind the line. Next thing you know, field goal from the Eagles gives them a 10-point lead, and now you're feeling like, oh man, this one's really getting away from you. Joe Burrow takes a shot down the field, which I don't think any of us blame him for taking a shot down the field. It was a great play by the Eagles defense. But now 27-17 with the Eagles getting the ball back, and it just feels like it's completely over at that point. And it all goes back, and it started with the missed field goal from Evan McPherson. And so I keep going back to the Bengals' inability to run the ball.
Right.
And we've talked about this week after week, time after time. You know, the Bengals started this game with Zach Moss and Andre Yoshivas and Trenton Irwin on the field. Zach Moss today, 5 carries for 11 yards. Chase Brown, 12 carries for only 32. His long run of 5 yards. When Joe Burrow has your longest run of the day for 8 yards, it's probably not a very good day on the ground. 20 total carries for this Bengals offense, 2.9 yards per pop is never going to get it done. And it just felt like right off the bat, they abandoned the run. Now on that first drive, they weren't overly successful with it, but on that first drive, they carried the ball 5 times.
Yeah.
So five times you carry the ball in your first drive of the game, and then the rest of the game you carry it 15 times.
Yeah. No, it's
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it makes sense.
I don't think they care about running the football, and I firmly believe that. I think Zach Taylor doesn't think running the football matters. All right, that's the only explanation at this point, because you're not only not running it enough, in my opinion, you're not running it in situations that give them a legitimate chance to succeed either. Plenty of opportunities to get more creative running the ball. We're handing it off to Zach Moss on an outside zone behind Cody Ford and Cordell Volson. I get that that's where you normally run when Orlando Brown's in the game. I get that. You have to be smarter as a play caller to know that he's not in the game. And now you have to run behind Kappa and Mims. There is no reason to consistently be giving these running backs the ball behind Cody Ford. It's so frustrating because if I'm sitting here seeing it in real time, I don't understand why they can't think of it too. How do you continue to run the ball to that side of the line when it doesn't work time after time after time? Run the ball the other way. We get to 3rd and 1. What's the play call? Bam! Zach Moss right up Cody Ford's backside. Gets blown up in the backfield. And then we run a bubble screen, which is the worst play call of all time. I don't get it. I don't get it. And that's the part about being a football fan that frustrates me the most right now with this team. I don't understand why we are doing so many of the things we are doing. And that's why it's so frustrating, is because it feels like there's a lot of easy fixes. And it might just sound easy. Maybe we don't have the talent to do certain things. Maybe we don't have the pieces to make halftime adjustments. Maybe these guys in the defensive back end don't know what to do. Maybe Chase Brown can't carry the ball 20 times a game like he did at Illinois just fine. But I don't know why we aren't making changes. We continue to run out there and do the same thing week after week on both sides of the ball. These last 2 weeks, did it work on defense? Sure. Was it against the Browns and Giants? Yes. The offense has struggled 2 weeks in a row. Did they make any changes this week? Nope. T. Higgins out. We see Jermaine Burton make one play down the sideline, 40-yard catch. Great. Do we see him the rest of the game? Nope. Andre Yoshivas, nothing. Just a dropped, wide open first down conversion. These receivers, I mean, Mike Gesicki led the team in receiving today. 7 catches for 73 yards. Probably his best game in a Bengals uniform, having to step up when we needed it most. And then right at the end of the game, pisses it away by fumbling the ball on the last drive. There's just no consistency from anyone on this team other than 9-1. And that's it. That's really what it comes down to. There's no one else you can rely on. And at some point, I'm going to have to remove those guys from it too. I mean, Jamar Chase had a great first couple drives of the game, but really disappeared at the end. And Joe Burrow, There's a lot of talk in our chat, and I'm going to have to look into it more before we prepare for our show on Tuesday. A lot of talk in our chat about a lot of bad audibles for Joe Burrow today. So something that I think is going to be interesting to take a look at, complaining about multiple checks going on today, which is something that takes us back to the Ravens discussion, checking into a run in overtime, something that has been a big-time conversation about Joe Burrow this whole year has been the audible situation. So certainly something that's going to be interesting to look at there. But offensively for this team, it's painful because I don't know what changes there are to make. The thought process is every year from here on out, we're going to get less talented on that side of the ball.
Well, I said this early on in the year. Let's say that you get your wish and that Zach Taylor is relieved of his duties as head coach. Who's your next head coach?
Right.
Jacob. It's Darren Simmons. So I hope you're ready for that because Darren Simmons hasn't really done a whole lot in his 20 years with the Bengals either. So, I mean, there's not a great answer from a personnel standpoint. There's not a great answer from a coaching standpoint. If they're certainly not going to put Lou Anarumo in that role right now with the way this defense is playing. Dan Pitcher is your first-year offensive coordinator. I doubt that you're going to put him in this position. And so you're left in a scenario where if you do make a change, you're putting in Darren Simmons in a lose-lose situation for this team. And so, yeah, to your point, Jamar Chase came out, had a great first drive. Joe Burrow on that drive, 11 for 12, 60 yards, 5 third-down conversions, 4 different players caught a ball. I mean, they were looking great. Didn't pan out the rest of the way. The Bengals offense seemed to completely lose sight of what its goal was during this game, which was death by 1,000 cuts. And they completely changed their approach. And it just didn't work out for them yet again. And if we want to add a little salt to the wound, not to dig in there too much right now, but the Cleveland Browns just beat the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah.
So your
this win would have been awesome.
Should have been 4-3 Bengals would have been only a half a game back of the Ravens for the division lead.
Playing them in 2 weeks.
Yep. So here we are yet again with a
every time this Bengals team gets extended a little bit of rope this year after their slow start, they just throw it away. Every single time they've been given a little glimpse into the open door, crack the door a little bit for the AFC playoffs, they just throw it away.
Yep. Frustrating. And I see someone in the chat saying that both coaches in Baltimore and Pittsburgh were special teams coaches, but I don't know how familiar you are with Darren Simmons' game, but
right.
But
not the same.
I think it's a little bit different, but what do I know? There's a reason that Darren Simmons has been with the Bengals now since I don't know what year, 1998 it feels like.
It's when Tobin got here.
Get this answer really quick. I mean, it probably I don't doubt it.
Tobin started
joined
in
the
99.
Bengals in 2003, 20 years.
21 years. Yeah, that's something. Reed Mouse, our friend of the program, Reed Mouse, Chatterbox extraordinaire, puts a great point in the chat. What this team lacks in good players, it more than makes up for the fact that they are also poorly coached. So, a great point by Reed there. Really, it is a lack of talent on both sides of the football. We have a lot of guys on defense that just aren't good enough, and this offensive line is the least athletic offensive line by any metric you can find to measure athleticism in the entire league. And they're poorly coached. That's a hell of a combination, causes some kind of exponential decrease there to how bad it looks on the field, and that's what reared its ugly head today. We talked about a lot over the season. What happens if that bad offense and the bad defense find each other on the same day? Well, folks, we found it. We found it, and it happened today at 1 p.m. Thank God this puppy was flexed and there weren't more eyes on it, because it was an ugly one that I'm sure is still going to be talked about quite a bit. Something else that is not fun but does need to be talked about is the most expensive kicker in Bengals history. One of the most expensive kickers in NFL history, Evan McPherson, who has yet to make a 50-yard field goal this season. Obviously, the kick against the Ravens, talked about a lot. The play calling decision to run that 3 times, kick it. A messed up hold on that one caused it to be missed. This one today, there was some sentiment about a bad hold. It looked fine to me. The operation looked like it was clean to me. Looked like one McPherson should have made. Has not made a 50-yarder yet this year. I think it's close to getting to a point where we're going to have a conversation about McPherson. He's second to last in the league in field goal percentage this year. That's unacceptable for a guy that you drafted and then extended and paid big time money to be the kicker of your future. The fact that we have so many people in the chat after that missed field goal saying you have to go for that ball or go for that 4th down, 4th and 7 early in the game with a lead, saying you have to go for that, tells me we have a problem with our kicker. Because if 4th and 7, a 53-yard field goal, and you have the most expensive kicker in football, and you have no confidence in kicking that field goal, then you made a bad decision extending that kicker. And I did have confidence running him out there. That's a play that I am confident in Evan McPherson making. At some point, I'm going to lose that confidence. I don't know how much longer I can hold on to a 2021 playoff run where he didn't miss. This guy hasn't been great since then. He's been fine. He's been above average. He hasn't been the nails, lights out, great kicker really since that playoff run, which is really startling to see as that sample size continues to grow of struggles.
Yeah, his first 2 seasons in the NFL, 14 of 16 on kicks from 50-plus yards. You mentioned it, hasn't made one yet this year. 10 of his last 18 from 50-plus. And then you mentioned it's second worst field goal percentage in the NFL for a guy that you're paying $5.5 million a year. And it's just not good enough. 3 straight now from over 50 he's missed. I mean, this is a guy who earned his way to this contract with making long kicks. And in a league now where it feels like 50 to 60 yarders are chip shots for many kickers now, to have
at least the ones getting paid as much as he is
out there. Yeah. To have a kicker that you can't put out there and rely on in that situation to make a field goal when the snap was good, the hold looked good, and he just hooks it left. I mean, that's a difficult situation to be in. And the other piece of it that has to be addressed is that Zach Taylor continues to put his team in situations where he seemingly is playing to put the ball on Evan McPherson's foot from long distance. And that also doesn't make a ton of sense to me. And so you're paying a guy $5.5 million. He's got to make that kick. And it just spiraled from there. I talked at the beginning of the show. After that kick, things just went downhill for the Bengals, and it went downhill quick.
No, you're absolutely right. And just more salt in that wound. Let's just keep pouring salt in the wounds, Craig. Jake Elliott, the Eagles kicker, 39-yarder, 47-yarder, 49-yarder. If you know anything about Jake Elliott, that's right. Signed by the Bengals and cut in favor of everyone's favorite, Fat Randy. Fat Randy was who Zach and company picked over Jake Elliott, who's now one of the best kickers in the entire NFL in Philadelphia. So just more salt in the wound there when this game obviously took a big-time turn after that missed field goal. I've said it time and time again, this was the game for the Bengals to prove that they've made changes. This was the chance for the Bengals to prove that they're a legitimate team. We should take them seriously in playoff conversations. And now I guess the question is, what now? I guess they have another one of these games in 2 weeks. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I think I just saw it on social media. I think it's really important for us to address before we move on to what now. In his post-game press conference, Joe Burrow says, quote, "It's frustrating that year after year the Bengals have short yardage issues." We talked about it before. Make of it what you want, but they haven't been able to run the ball when they need to run the ball. They haven't been able to make the play calls when they need to make the play calls. Whether that's a shot at Zach Taylor, whether that's a shot at the running game. It has to be,
right?
Whether that's a shot at himself, I don't know. You can make of it what you want. As Kelsey Conway put it, make of that what you please. All I know is that the short yardage game has been unbearable.
Oh, yeah.
And it's been that way for years. So whether you want to blame the running game because of Zach Moss, whether you want to go back in time and blame the running game of Joe Mixon, whether you want to blame this offensive line, whether you want to blame Zach Taylor, whether you want to blame Joe Burrow himself for potentially audibling into those calls that we don't know. Blame who you want to blame. But the short story is that this team has not been good in short yardage situations, and that has to be fixed because this is a team that time and time again faces short yardage situations. So, you know, whether it's the Eagles, who you just played, who had 5 of 6 successful tush pushes.
Yeah.
Was it 5 of 6? I don't remember.
I don't know if he got in
on
that touchdown, but we lost by 20, so I'm not going to argue.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I'm not gonna lie. I was taking my daughter to swim lessons today, so I was watching on my phone. Hard to tell on my phone.
They put the replay up
media.
on the broadcast and circled his elbow as the ball.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't know. But I was ready to get mad about that if it wasn't going to be a 20-point loss. I was ready to get upset about that overturn.
Yeah. Well, what I do know is regardless of whether that was a touchdown or not,
yeah,
the Eagles are time and time again successful at picking up 1 yard, and they're somehow doing it with a play that nobody else in the league runs.
Right.
And so here you are, you've got Joe Burrow, who, whether we want to admit it or not, is a fairly athletic quarterback. He may not be Jalen Hurts. He may not be Lamar Jackson, but he's athletic enough to run for 47 yards and a touchdown a week or two ago. I would like to believe that he's athletic enough to pick up 1 yard on a QB sneak if you give him the chance. But this just not going to happen with you have an offense where he's in shotgun every single time. So, look, I've been critical of the shotgun. I've been critical of just Zach Taylor. I've been critical of a lot of things. It's probably not going to change this year.
Yeah, right.
But the end of the story is that when you have 3rd and 1 and you run 2 plays and can't convert it, that is a huge momentum swing, and the Bengals weren't able to overcome it today.
Joe Burrow has been successful on the quarterback sneak as well. I understand. I mean, myself, and I'm sure Zach Taylor and everyone else on that Bengals sideline holds their breath every time that pile is unpiling on top of him. I don't love seeing it happen, but at a point in the game like that where you absolutely have to get that 3rd down, you're inside a yard. Run the quarterback sneak. I don't understand the trying to get cute and hit it off to Zach Moss behind your worst lineman that's in the game and then a bubble screen. I feel like it's too creative and too, I don't want to say soft, but protective of Burrow to not be willing to run that QB sneak there, because I feel like any team without a $50 million quarterback in that situation is lining up under center and running the QB sneak, and the Eagles do have a $50 million quarterback, and they do that anyway. So it's obviously a play that works. Burrow has been successful at it in his career. Very, very frustrating that those were the 2 plays they called in that situation, but I think the question that everyone's asking right now is what now? Where are we? What's next? What happens? Before we get into that, we do have a $10 super chat from JQ over on YouTube. Says Deion Sanders said that Bengals ownership doesn't want to win championships. They just want to be in the conversation, and I believe them. Interesting. I might believe him too. I heard a fun story years ago from David Fulcher, a safety on those Bengals Super Bowl teams, that said on the bus back from the stadium to the team hotel after the 2nd Super Bowl loss, he was sitting behind Mike Brown, and Brown said, "We can't keep doing this. It's too expensive to fly the families out here." So if that's the immediate thought of the ownership after a Super Bowl loss, I can't imagine how they feel about being competitive right now with an expensive quarterback. So certainly sentiment that I think is shared by most of Cincinnati. One thing I do want to touch on right before we get into the outlook for the rest of this season, a lot of people in the chat saying that this game proves the importance of T. Higgins. And I think that's absolutely true. I also think Friday proves why you might not re-sign T. Higgins. He continues to be banged up and miss time. This is a guy that's played 55% of the snaps on offense since he got drafted, and he's going to want top wide receiver money. I just don't know how much I can talk myself into this. This was a year that he had to be healthy and play all year long to prove that was something he can do. He's already missed 3 games.
We just got done talking about how this organization as a whole is very cheap. To expect them to go out and spend $25 million a year on a guy who gets hurt at practice on a Friday and misses a game for, I believe, the 3rd time in his career now is what I saw, that he's gotten banged up at practice and missed time with a soft tissue injury. Find it hard to believe that the Bengals are going to make that move. And it goes back. We got a super chat earlier in the day from JQ, a $5 super chat. It's because they, as an organization, are cheap. Always has, always will. If I was Joey B, I would ask to be traded.
Wow. Let's not put that out there. Let's not put that out in the world. Jeez Louise, guys. I mean, it's a tough loss. I get it. But, man, don't take Joe from me. If you take Joe from me with this team, what do I have, Craig? What else is there? Oh man.
Well, I mean, you're talking about the quarterback that carried you to a Super Bowl just 3 years ago. I mean, hard to imagine moving on from him if you can. But I mean, no, I mean the struggle though is continually the same conversation, and that is, can this Bengals offense operate without 2 stud wide receivers?
Right.
And I fully believe that, and don't take this the wrong way, but like the T. Higgins that you're getting for $25 million a year apparently would be replaceable when you're talking about a draft and other free agents. I mean, this is a guy with an extremely high quality skill set. I mean, big, physical, can go up and get the ball. And I believe that. I mean, he has the skill set to be an AJ Brown type wide receiver. I truly believe that. The problem is he's continually hurt. And I struggle because the Bengals have yet to be able to figure out that number 2 wide receiver position when he's not out there. Andre Yoshivas, with the drop today, has continually showed that he's not necessarily ready for that role. When Mike Gesicki has to step and be your WR2, that's not a good scenario for Joe Burrow as a quarterback. So either way, whether it's with T. Higgins or with somebody else, like, the thing that I feel like is very obvious is that you can't go into 2025 without a top end wide receiver 2, but you have so many holes in so many places that you need to plug that I don't know how you go about addressing it, because you can't afford to draft a wide receiver in the first round either.
Yeah.
Because you have so many other needs. So it's one of those catch-22 situations where, okay, let's say you don't tag T. Higgins again and you don't sign him to a long-term contract. Well, then you're going to go into the draft and you're going to have holes that you have to leave wide open because you can't draft it in the first round, because quite frankly, you have so many other places that you need to help. And so you're either going to draft your wide receiver 2 and hope that you hit on a wide receiver again, because you've been fairly lucky with that, or you're going to go out and address the needs on the defense. And quite frankly, if we're being honest, one thing that might make an impact on that is who's your head coach.
Yeah,
because with Zach Taylor, he'll absolutely go out there and spend a first round pick on a wide receiver again. He's done it time and time again. But if you go out and you hire a new head coach, maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's very clear to me that this offense needs a second wide receiver. And I see someone in the chat right now saying, how many top wide receivers does Kansas City have? It doesn't matter how many top wide receivers Kansas City has, because Kansas City has Andy Reid. If you give Zach Taylor Kansas City's offense, Patrick Mahomes is nothing.
Right.
Because he can't do it. But if you give Ben Johnson this offense, I have a lot more confidence that he's going to make it happen.
Without a T. Higgins.
That's ultimately what it comes down to is, okay, do you want to continue to invest in the players and have to give Zach Taylor 2 star wide receivers in order to be successful and hope that they all stay healthy along with Joe Burrow? Or do you want to go out and try and get somebody like Ben Johnson, who has shown so much creativity offensively in being able to find ways to create open receivers and to get defenses out of position? He did it again today. I think David Montgomery had a touchdown pass to Sam Laporta today. So, I mean, it's just frustrating when you look around the league and you see so many different teams who have found ways to make it work without that top end talent. And then we, with Zach Taylor, have that top end talent and can't make it work offensively. So no, you're right. If you have Andy Reid as your head coach, you probably don't need top wide receivers. But if this Bengals team, who has not shown historically that they're willing to move on from head coaches, expect to be competitive, then they're gonna need another wide receiver. And to Jade's point, they haven't even paid Jamar yet.
Right.
So
yeah, absolutely.
I don't know.
No,
you're not going to sign them both this offseason. So are you going to go out and tag T again and leave Jamar playing his final year of his contract without an extension? Can't do that. I don't know. Just so much frustration. And to the point of what now? I think you get what you can at the trade deadline and see if anybody has interest in T. Higgins.
I would absolutely explore that, because you have to figure out what you have. And I don't know what they're doing with Jermaine Burton at this point, but he needs to be playing because we have to figure out if he's a decent piece for this team or not. Because if he's going to go out there and put up stinkers week after week, then that's fine. I would rather see that than see him sit on the bench and do nothing. Andre Yoshivas went out there and ran cardio today for 60 minutes. Nothing from Yoshivas today. Jermaine Burton had 3 targets, and one of them was a 50-yard bomb. He has 2 catches on 5 targets this year for 88 yards. How is that a guy that you can't work into this offense more often when we consistently see Yoshivas and Trenton Irwin not be able to get it done consistently? I mean, these guys don't do it at wide receiver 3, and certainly when you ask Yoshivas to step up to wide receiver 2, he hasn't been able to do it this year in the games T. Higgins has been out. It's been abysmal from the receivers outside of Jamar Chase in games without T. Higgins. Every single game T. Higgins hasn't played in, Mike Gesicki has been the second leading receiver. That is unacceptable. These guys have to step up if the Bengals don't want to use one of those premium picks on a wide receiver and don't want to change their head coach. We don't have a guy in this lineup right now, or in this roster right now, that I'm confident in being on wide receiver 2 next year.
I know you and others slammed me for my pregame comments about Jamar Chase, but if you take away that touchdown, I mean, that first drive was basically his entire game.
It was. Because
if you take that away, I think he ended up with like 4 catches for 20-something yards, right? So, I mean, I will fully admit I didn't take my own advice. Jamar Chase is in my starting lineup in fantasy football. Go. So, like, take that for what it's worth, right?
It's a little easier said than done to bench him.
100%. But the truth of the matter is that in the games where T. Higgins has not played, coming into today, Jamar Chase was not great.
Yeah.
Against New England, 6 catches for 62 yards. Against Kansas City, 4 catches for 35 yards. And now today, we go up against the Eagles, and Jamar Chase, he reels in 9 catches, but only 54 yards. And again, I just feel like it's because time and time again, Zach Taylor doesn't know how to scheme open a wide receiver in these kinds of situations. And so if you're going to expect T. Higgins to be gone next year, you got to figure out how do you get Jamar Chase open more downfield, because throwing screen passes is not going to get the job done. And I get it. He's great in open field and he's really good at challenging against tacklers and all of those things with, speaking of Jamar, but I just, when he's the only one out there and he's blanketed by 3 different guys, it just doesn't make any sense to have only one guy. So I ate my words a little bit with that first drive, but I think the rest of the game showed exactly what my concerns were in terms of Jamar Chase and this offense not being able to scheme the wide receivers open when they don't have those 2 ideal weapons.
Yeah, and it's just such a tough place to be because, like you've said already, like we've talked about so many times, there are so many other holes on this roster right now that being forced to use either a lot of money or a top draft pick on a wide receiver is just a tough place to be. But I think the question everyone's asking right now is, are we dead? Is the season over? And mathematically, the answer is no. But the question is, do you believe in this team to be able to beat some playoff teams at some point this season and win some home games at some point this season? If the answer to that is no, then I don't blame you, and I'm not going to talk you out of it. But mathematically, the Bengals are absolutely still alive in this thing. You're 3-5 now after the loss at home to the Eagles. You have the Raiders next week, a chance to go 4-5. Then you go to Baltimore with a chance to claw back to 500. You've dug yourself another big hole here, but you have a chance to beat 2 teams here and get back to 500 before another easy stretch of games. I mean, you're probably only going to be underdogs in 3-4 games the rest of the year, and you can only lose 2 of them. You have to go 7-2 to make the playoffs, we think, the rest of the way. So in order to get to 10 wins, it's certainly an uphill battle. And you're going to have to beat every single team that you're supposed to beat. And that's a game like today where you were 2.5-point favorite at home and you're expected to take care of business and you don't. You get blown out by 20. I'm going to choose to believe they still have
the insane
life.
Part is you're only a game out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Even with today's
AFC
loss,
is
you're
just
a game
so
out.
bad. They're gonna drag me along.
Right? That's exactly the thing. As a team, I have very little faith.
Yeah.
I just don't have faith in them right now. when I look at the schedule, yeah, I agree with you. The Raiders next week should be a winnable game, but the Ravens, and right now what I'm looking at, the Ravens is a loss, the Chargers is a loss, the Steelers is a loss, the Cowboys are a loss, Titans are a win, Browns are a win, Broncos are a coin flip, and then the Steelers are a loss. So like when I look at it right now, my gut wants to tell me that we're going to finish the season like 3-6. But I also know that the AFC is terrible, and that if they can find a way to just win 2 or 3 of those coin flips, that they might get in.
Yeah.
With a 500 record. Like it just
I think there's going to be an AFC playoff team with 9 wins, which is crazy to say after last year and the year before, talking about how elite the play in that conference is and how a 10-11 win team's going to get left out. To be talking about 9-win playoff teams this year in the AFC, maybe teams plural, it is crazy to say, but certainly a reality when looking at the standings and how a lot of these teams are playing right now. But the Bengals 1-3 conference record, that's why I keep saying that 10 wins is necessary. I just don't think you're going to have that conference record tiebreaker with anyone if you're sitting there at 9 wins with a bunch of other teams. So the Bengals are going to need that 10th win, I think, in order to have a chance. And then even then, you are really just rooting for a lackluster season from the entire conference and then magic in the playoffs from Joe Burrow. That's really what we've resorted to at this point. I don't have any faith in this defense against playoff offenses. And spoiler alert, in the playoffs, that's who you play, is playoff teams. So I don't think it would go great if we got in. And then how far away are we, Craig, from having the conversation of, do we want to get in? I think we're still a few weeks away from that, but it's certainly something I've thought about.
I mean, I feel like this team is just going to meddle its way to a 500-ish record. Mm-hmm. And at that point, you might as well get in and try and have some fun.
I do agree.
Like,
unless you're going to lose like 12 games.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take the scenario that I just played out where the Bengals win 3 of their remaining 9 games and they end the season
6-11
at 6-11. The way the AFC is going and the way the NFL is looking this year, like that might still put them like in the 10 to 12 range in terms of drafting. What good does that do?
No, 100%.
I might as well draft 18 and be in the playoffs and try to get a little bit of momentum going. This is the problem, right? Like you on paper, you are good enough and should be in the playoffs. But the way you are playing, especially defensively, is nowhere near that level. And so it's one of those situations where like my gut and my brain are not on the same page. And like I want to believe that this team can turn things around and can start winning football games. But then I also look at what I'm seeing on screen and I'm seeing a Bengals team who just can't beat another team who's any good at all.
None.
And so it just I said we needed to win 5 straight for me to be all the way back. I'm not all the way out, but I am certainly not back.
No. Well, you said we had to hold the Eagles under 20 points. They had 37.
How'd that work out? You
I was trying to haggle you down to like 21.
21 and a half.
I scored 37.
Okay. You got it. You got it, Jacob. 21 and a half it is.
Craig, we were trending the right way. We had 2 real fun weeks.
Were we? No,
wins.
We didn't.
Wins.
Stop it.
Wins. Wins are fun. Wins
every
are fun.
Time you get on this show, you say, "Oh, we're winning. I'm back. We're in a good mood." And then you ask me, "How we feeling?"
Yeah, you tear me down.
Jacob.
And you tear me down always.
Realist.
I know you are.
I'm a realist. You take your optimism,
and that's why this works. You drag me back down to earth.
Truth. You face the truth, Jacob. This is not a good football team. And whether you want to say it's because of the talent on the field or the talent in the booth making the play calls, I don't care what you want to say it is. The truth of the matter is that right now, top to bottom, coaches, players, front office, ownership is not a good enough team to consistently be a playoff caliber football team. We had our 2 runs to the AFC Championship. Listen, I've been alive for 37 years now, Jacob, and I've seen 3 Bengals appearances in the Super Bowl. 2 of them I don't remember because I was too young. I remember 2 AFC championship playoff runs, and those were both in the last 5 years. So at this point, I've just got to be happy that I've gotten what I've gotten, and I'm just going to go back into the same mindset that I've had with this Bengals team for the last 30 years, and that's just expect mediocrity. You know, the first 10 years of my life, we were trash every year. We were lucky to win 3 games. Then we got Marvin Lewis, and I loved Marvin Lewis for bringing us to mediocrity because we had been so bad for so long. And then we finally get rid of Marvin Lewis, and we bring in Zach Taylor, and he takes us to the Super Bowl, and I'm like, holy cow, this Bengals team is back. And then they just continue to show me that this is the same old Bengals team, the same old Bengals front office, the same old. And here I am again in my pessimistic, everybody hates me because I speak it how it is. It is what it is, Jacob. You can go and you can look at this team and try to act like there's positives to be had, and maybe there are. But the truth of the matter is that my expectation is continued the same way it was every year under Marvin Lewis. If we can make the playoffs, it's a win for the Bengals, because other than that, it's just who we are.
That's a shame if that's the reality, because it certainly feels like we have a wealth of not average players, not mediocre players, which was usually the thing with a lot of those teams is, okay, well, you know, Andy's at quarterback. That's mediocrity there. The O-line, mediocrity most of the time. The run game, mediocrity. The defense, mediocrity. It seems like we have pieces that are great, pieces that are the best in the league in some cases. And to still be facing that mediocrity, I think, is why it hurts so much more now than it did back then, because it's so hard to justify. There's just no reason the team should look like it does right now. And like you said, it very much falls on absolutely everybody. And yeah, see it in the chat. The Ravens loss makes this loss hurt even more. Absolutely right. If the Bengals were able to pull this one off against Philly at home, you'd be sitting really pretty right now. Basically, that slow start wouldn't have meant a thing, and you'd be back on an even playing field. But you lost by 20.
Rick just brought it up. Duke Tobin's been with the Bengals for 25 years as the head of player personnel, or whatever his title has been for 25 years. How often do you see that in the NFL?
No.
Not very often.
Right.
And the only reason that Marvin Lewis even came back for the last couple of years of his stint with the Bengals was because the Bengals agreed to start giving him a little bit more control over the roster.
Yeah.
It just we're not getting into it. We're not getting into it, Jacob. I can't do it today. We can't do it. I'm trying to have a good, positive Sunday. I refuse to let the Bengals
ruined.
refuse to let the Bengals. No, I refuse to let the Bengals ruin my weekend. They did exactly what I expected them to do. You wanted me to extend it to 21.5, 37 out the window. It doesn't matter. But if we didn't even score 21.5, I should have asked you, okay, if I give you 21.5, are the Bengals even going to win that game?
I would have said yes. I definitely would have said yes. Doesn't get much more frustrating than this one. Good old-fashioned butt whooping at home for the Bengals against the Eagles. Chaotic post-game show, but I'm not sure what you expect with that kind of product from the Bengals on the field. This is then what you get. We'll be much more buttoned up and clear thinking on Tuesday. Well, I don't know about buttoned up. That's not usually what you get here at Chatterbox Bengals, but much more clear thinking on Tuesday when we come back to break down the film and everything along those lines. Break down this 20-point loss as the Bengals fall to the Eagles, 3-5 now on the year. Las Vegas next week as the Bengals, that was weird, many years. Las Vegas next week as the Bengals face the Raiders before they head to Baltimore for another divisional matchup. Bengals fall in what felt like a must-win game. Certainly hurts quite a bit. For Craig Sandlin and Jacob Tissett, that's going to do it for today's post-game show. We'll see you guys on Tuesday.